stream, didn't you? Down below in the panels, probably signed up.
Hello, hello. Welcome in,
Hi,
Smite
Aggro.
fans. It's a brand new update show. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Aggro. I'll be your host. I just want to mess around and, I don't know, like
1080.
see a bunch of great new skins.
Better.
Maybe get an update on some of the balance that's going to be coming. And remember, this is actually for the Worlds patch, so this is going to be very big.
So this
for
is
you
the
pro
last
player
patch
fans out there.
before,
And
last change before
there's
Worlds.
one other thing. What was
This
it?
is the Worlds patch.
Oh yeah, a whole new god, Yemoja, being debuted today.
This is the
It's
Worlds patch.
Really awesome. Make sure you guys stick around and make sure you tune in for that. But first, we're gonna go in and take a look at some of these skins early on here, as we usually do. Don't worry, balance coming up right on the other side. Right away, we're gonna kick it off with a Persephone skin that I think you guys are gonna like very much.
Persephone
I haven't
skin.
seen any of these. A lot of times I'll kind of let you.
I
in
don't
on
know
the
if she's gonna
process
get
here. A lot of
buffed or
times I need to go
nerfed.
back,
I have no idea what
see
the
what's
numbers
going
are
on.
gonna say.
Haven't seen any of these yet, and I'm excited about it.
But I feel like she'll
Cute
get one.
Cultivator Persephone is the first one. A whole new line and a whole new design of skins that I
Oh
think you guys are
boy.
going to like
Happy
quite a bit.
flowers that murder
Whirlwind
you.
Tech Xing Chen
Oof.
coming up next. That one looks super sweet.
Holy
Love
cow, that looks just like the
Dawn
chalk skin.
Defender Thor, I believe, was teased a little bit. One of my favorite card arts in quite some time. Swift Scurrier Neath also come. Oh my goodness, I was not expecting that, but that is awesome. Wise Wizard Merlin.
Okay.
Okay. I was gonna say, if we don't have a beard here, we
His
have some
original.
problems,
That's
but
the.
long white
It
beard
should have looked
check.
like originally,
Horrific
dude.
Harvester Apwash.
There we go.
As we are into October,
wow.
and it's getting awfully spooky in
Holy
here.
cow.
We continue with Bloody Butcher Ymir with the same sort of
Oh my goodness.
theme.
Creepy.
This is scary.
These are scary.
Radical
Yeah.
Rex Chalk.
These are scary
as well.
Oh my goodness.
Which is
What the?
that skin, man? If you
That's
don't get pumps up
excellent.
for T-Rex Chalk,
That's an
well, I guess it
excellent
can't be a
skin.
T-Rex because his arms are long. But Dinosaur Chalk. If
That's
that
an
doesn't get the
excellent
blood
skin.
flowing, then go see a doctor.
I can already hear the
because
sound
that
effects,
skin
and I already
is
like
going to be a
them.
lot of fun. So make sure we're going to go into all those
I already
in
like
just a
them.
little bit. But Yemoja as well in today's update show.
So.
Also some spicy updates, actually, considering this is the World's
Okay.
patch. So let's get right to those right now.
Okay.
We've got Hinderman
Patch
and
notes.
Pompon standing by.
Thanks so much,
Balance
Aggro.
patch.
And what a
Well, you're a little
patch
quiet.
this is going to be. I'm not going to lie. This is an exciting one. Joining me
Is that
to
better?
break down the patch notes once
It's
again,
way
as
quieter.
always, is the one, the only, the illustrious, the ever amazing
The
Pompon.
handsome. The pawn.
Thank you. Those are
Wow.
kind words.
Oh my God, Pawn is
Yeah, I don't know
really
what's wrong with me
quiet.
today.
Yeah,
It could
not a
be because I saw
character.
the patch notes
I'm
and
gonna
kind
try
of
to
liked
have
it. You know, that could be the difference.
gets
Maybe
too
if you do these
loud or
more
too quiet, just let me know.
regularly,
We'll have nice and
The
dim.
mics are always different
Maybe.
volumes in all the
Possibly.
different rooms.
See how it works out. Project Olympus bug fixes, first of all, is where we're going to begin here. Fix an issue with the Oni Fury would sometimes not spawn an empowered wave of minions. I didn't
Yeah,
know that.
it was kind of a rare bug, and we found the
Interesting.
repro case for it, and it's fixed.
Never
Okay.
seen that before.
Also, bug fixes fix archer minions sometimes stopping short of max attacking range of the Titan, but still attempt to fire range shots at the Titan.
Yeah, they would get stuck shooting at the Titan. The Titan would be like, "I'm not taking damage, so I'm not going to."
You just laughed at them?
Yeah, and so they just kind of stared at each other.
Oh, so they're just like stacked up.
Very temporarily.
I mean,
but
it wouldn't
yes.
really happen with the minion spawns and stuff. Project Olympus early surrender improvements. When a team chooses to surrender early, that match will not count for or against any players' MMR on either team. TP will still work as it currently does. The team who surrenders won't lose any TP, while the team who won will gain reduced TP. The player who left causes early surrender to become enabled will still lose double the amount of TP they would have lost otherwise, but their MMR will be unaffected. Sorry,
So-
it's the first time reading this.
Yeah, so
That's
TLDR.
cool.
Yeah, TLDR.
Interesting.
The early surrender had TP forgiveness, so like
Okay.
if the match ended up having someone leave really early on, you
Yeah.
get surrender in 5 minutes, and then you
But
get
there wasn't
the,
MMR
the
forgiveness.
TP reduction, and make sure that like all that rewards are adjusted. When we added MMR, that was now a thing that was visible, and people would see that
Yep.
hey, that got adjusted as well. And the reason we did that was because
Yep.
MMR is like the actual matchmaking metric we want to use, and messing with that causes long-term problems. For every win, there needs to be a loss. You can't just forgive the people who lost and make them lose no MMR and give MMR.
Yeah.
So we just let it
Yeah,
go
they
because
needed
it was
to do
just an
that for a
individual
long
match.
time.
But now we want to make sure that that match also is forgiven.
For a long
but it has
time.
to be like where TP, you actually have some people reduced and some people gain a reduced amount. This needs to not count at all because again, it is our matchmaking metric.
Right.
It can't be cheated. It can't be tweaked in certain ways. So we have to make sure that it's even. So that's why no one's MMR gets adjusted.
Can I
But
get some-
that does mean if you had someone leave early, you will not lose MMR anymore.
Clarification, early surrender improvements. This is to do with people leaving the game at the very beginning?
Yeah, this is
or
where
not
you can
connecting?
surrender. Yeah, this is where you can surrender at 5 minutes.
Okay, I just want to make sure nobody's at home going, hey, if I just F6 at 10, we're good to go. Right.
No.
Okay. So, early surrender option, if that happens in your games, if you're in a winning team, you'll get a small amount of TP, a small gain. If you lose, you won't lose anything, and the MMR won't
That's been needed for a while.
Okay. Good to hear. That's bug fix
For
stuff.
a
Have we got more
while.
bug fix stuff on here?
This is just a cool new feature coming up.
Oh, I was reading these. These guys, these are pretty good, by the way.
Okay.
Next up, if I just get my sheet
A cool new
correct,
feature.
is going to be the auto buy, data-driven auto buy feature here. Now, instead of me reading through this long list of stuff that's on here that you're going to be able to find on the update notes after the show airs, we can just run through some of this. It's going to be data-driven, as in from high MMR level games, from what I'm reading.
Yep. So
and
it'll
you're going to
be
be able to get like the best items for your character.
Yeah, so there's a lot of really cool stuff going on here. It's basically taking all the matches that are played at the high-end Conquest MMR scene, and it's taking each character and it's finding the most winning build for that character, and through some tweaks and manipulations, we get a build that we can give to you.
Right.
So auto buy is so previously we've
That's
all had to manually
interesting.
create builds. Those builds quickly become outdated as things change, as metas develop, as new items can rotate in and out.
It's actually really
as
good
balance
for new
changes occur,
players.
and so they
Actually.
often get outdated, and then people build them, and then they have a worse experience on that god because it's their first time playing. They use auto buy, and it doesn't work well for them.
Yeah.
This will now give them a guaranteed, very winning build for that character, as well as it has other cool things going on, like it'll actually take into account your team composition and the other team composition.
That's
and so
cool.
it gets multiple data sets to pull from to try and find, like, oh, you're facing 5 magical characters. There's probably a build where magical defense was more bot, so you won't have a unless it was a winning item.
Right.
You won't have a
Wonder
physical defense item percentage. Right? So these are
how-
really cool things going on where our data team is just crunching a whole bunch of the stuff.
I
But with that
almost-
comes some caveats. It is noted that this is for high-ranked conquest.
Right.
So if you're playing arena and you're playing
I
assassin,
almost wanna know,
most
like,
assassins probably start Assassin's Blessing. Which
how
isn't necessarily
good
for that
it's
mode, so we
gonna
have an
be.
exception there.
You
where
know
that'll
what I'm
actually be
saying?
replaced
Like,
with Attacker's Blessing.
That's cool.
How
and then as we continue going on
mathematically
forward, we're
correct
gonna
is this
keep
gonna
refining
be?
this,
Because
how often we refresh these these data sets is
theoretically,
going to be important, so we're going to tweak that as that
if
goes
it was
live.
perfect,
So there's a lot going on.
you
with
should
that,
just
but
let
know
it
that
build
Auto-buy
for
is gonna be
you.
much better. The recommended page is also getting updated. as well.
Like,
The
if
popular
it
channel-
knows
the popular
better,
tab is also getting updated. User
like,
information,
just
and,
throw it
there's
on
some
out,
tweaks, like,
dude.
recommended
Be
habits
like,
to
yeah,
have
man,
damage,
give me the
defense,
best game
or
for give the
core
best build for
damage,
against this
defense.
comp.
It's now core 2, and situational, because that better reflects how
So-
people generally build their characters. Is they have a core.
I mean,
6
I
items, they
doubt
have the
it's gonna
situational
be
flex items.
anywhere near
So
that
again,
good,
a lot of
but
stuff being there to
in
help.
theory,
One,
if
not
it was
only new players come into
perfect,
the
you
game
would
and have
just
a good
let it
build
buy
they're
for
gonna be
you.
able to utilize effectively. But also, if you're just an experienced player but you haven't played that character in a while, you haven't played that role in a while, you also have good items
Interesting.
presented to you.
I'd love
Really
to
good.
like.
Look, just
can
going
you
to stipulate
see
real
the
quick.
items?
Pompano, nobody's told me this, but just be aware this is probably going to take a little bit of smoothing out around the edges a little bit. So don't go off on us straight away if it doesn't work out immediately. It's
Like,
going to take
like,
some work.
Yeah, I
can
think
you
if
like
play on
see
PTS, you
the
might notice that, like, some
recommended
boots aren't
auto
there
items
because
right
a lot of the
away?
most winning games are characters that have gone really far and they sold their boots for a speed elixir. So there's things that we have to do to make sure that that's.
I would
all sorted
wonder
out.
if you could just
So you
like
might see on
see
PTS
the
there's a little bit
items,
of weirdness,
just like and like
but
not
if you do
use
see
them.
any
You know
like
what I'm saying?
egregious bugs, or you see something that doesn't look quite right,
Like,
definitely report
oh,
it to us.
okay,
But
those
we're
are the
gonna be
winning
doing this.
items. I don't
It's
want
a
to build them,
big
but maybe I want to build
undertaking
that
from what I
one
understand
here and that
with
one
this,
here.
all
So
the
you can
maths
like,
behind
at
the
least
scene of
know
how this
what
works.
they
So
were.
just be
Tons of
patient.
data. That
It'd be
gets
interesting.
parsed.
Patient with the developers as they go
That's
through
the whole
this.
thing is kind of interesting.
Hopefully it works
to me,
day one
so.
perfectly, but there's probably going to be some tweaks here or there. Great idea, though. I love it.
Yeah.
Talking about other ideas, there's other stuff that I saw on here, too.
That's
There's
a nice
really good week
idea,
for the
so.
Project Olympus stuff.
Yeah.
Player behavior improvements. Yeah. You.
Yeah.
And me.
Yeah,
Let's
yell
have
at
a
'em.
look through some of the stuff that's on here. Shadow banning is the first thing
Yell
I see
at
here.
'em, Hindu.
We're going to be implementing a new form of punishment with the primary goal of protecting the average player from harassment.
Yeah.
Shadow banning will happen mid-match and automatically based on a set of specific conditions. We are not detailing these conditions publicly because we don't want to give players enough info to circumvent it. That's a good idea. And this will all allow these players to continue playing but remove their ability to chat.
Yeah, so just to kind of preface all these changes towards player behavior improvement is we want to make sure that the game
Okay.
is an enjoyable place for everyone to participate in.
Right.
We want to give good feedback for if things are going wrong, potentially ways to
Interesting.
improve that, and also give tools for our support team to better
Understand.
analyze all this
So
stuff. and
basically
better
an
understand it.
auto-mute.
And so we're really tackling this as I'm a person that someone's trying to harass me. How can I
Okay.
better protect myself automatically?
Right.
There's a
Interesting.
person where I've engaged in negative behavior and I'm trying to get better at that, get better feedback for that, as well as instance reporting to allow for more information to be sent to the
Okay.
support team to better act on.
Sure,
So on that
sure.
shadow banning stuff, as you said, it'll go on again. There's a chat gag situation here as well. Now that's to do with just restrict the amount people can send messages or send messages at all if they continue to be rude.
Yep. So based on certain criteria, you
I'm
might
in
have
so much trouble.
You might have a punishment applied to you where you can only send a certain amount of chat messages,
Right.
Pings and VGS, and they're all calculated separately. So you can do like 2 chat messages, 2 pings, right?
Okay.
And then that will open up more and more as you play games where you don't trigger this condition to occur.
Okay.
And that is just a way to like, hey, you're doing
Sure.
things that aren't necessarily good.
You're being good, you can talk more. You're
Yeah, and
being
if you're being
bad,
good-
you talk less.
Exactly. Pretty much how that works.
Yeah. It doesn't work for me.
That
though.
doesn't seem like that big of a deal.
Automated instance reporting. That's another thing that I've got listed on here. This is going to be
exciting?
the system itself choosing to maybe send reports based off what it sees.
Yeah, so there's a few things going on here too, which if you've ever had at the end of match lobby someone's like exclamation points flashing,
Yeah, that
was
one.
actually the instance measuring a whole bunch of different things going on in the match and being like, hey, this person might have done something that warrants reporting, right?
Right.
And it's just a
Yeah,
reminder,
auto
like, hey,
report
report
them.
this person.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
taking that data a little bit further, and we're using that as a way to compile more information about how that match went and potential issues that did arise, so the support team has more information to act on. Again, I do want to stress that player reporting, the actual like player themselves reporting, is still the primary metric we use, but this should help speed up a lot of situations where the support team would then look at it and be able to act more quickly.
Yeah.
And that's really the goal, is to make sure that like we actually can address players as they're coming in,
hear me out.
as things are happening, rather than having to
Either
backlog
it
and waiting
bans
for them
more
back.
toxic people,
It's good stuff.
or
And
I
also take into
accidentally
account the
get
instance
banned.
reporting. It won't be the only
Either way,
metric
I'm
that you
winning.
get banned over if you do get any suspensions or
You know?
marks against you.
If the
Yeah.
system
It'll be
goes
taken into
wrong and you
account,
get
but it won't be the
banned,
only thing.
you're
So
still
before you
winning.
all start screaming that the automated
Boom.
system did this to you, it won't be the case.
there's
Not only
no
that,
way
ping
to
text
lose.
notifications, Pompon did just mention those really quickly. That you're gonna be able to see who pinged.
Yeah, so if you
I mean,
if you
it's-
ping the
it's
map, it'll
over.
be like
It's over. You know what? I don't talk in game. I just spam ping, and now I can't do it.
yeah, but it'll only show up
God.
once every 5 seconds, so you won't even see Hindu spamming a whole bunch. You'll just see Hindu man pinged,
Oh
and
yeah.
you'll hear the 8 sounds.
I don't want to know it was me.
Now I
Someone will
finally
mute
get
you
you
and
finally
I know, I
get to
don't want to know
know
it's me. I
who
just want to
pinged
ping
you,
that tier
dude.
one of like, why
When
we
you
get
get
the tier
pinged
one
on
tower? Why
9
we the
times
Phoenix killing them?
after you're
Bad times
solo
ahead,
laner
but
dies
good times
1v1.
ahead if you're a well-behaved human being, unlike me, and unlike some of you members in chat today. On though, past the Project
Love
Olympus
it.
stuff and onto item balance.
Love it.
What are we looking at this week, Pam?
So, as was said earlier, this is the Worlds patch.
It is.
So this is at DreamHack. This will be where what everyone's playing on, and so we want to make sure that we didn't do anything that was meta shaking up, right?
Okay.
Like we've seen a lot of like the jungle invade and jungle pressure stuff. We didn't want to just completely remove that or change how that functioned heavily, because that's what a lot of people have been playing towards. We just wanted to make sure that if we do any changes, they're more subtle in that regard. And then for the majority of the changes, they're more towards spicing up picks that are on the lower end. Again, not meant to just shake up the meta for reasons to shake up the meta. It's more towards the lower end characters or items that we deem as a problem individually.
Gotcha.
And then we're making it so that this patch goes live, and then pro players have, I believe, like a full month pretty much to play on this.
They should, yeah.
To practice and get familiar with everything and make sure that the Worlds is a good experience.
Gotcha. So this will be the patch that's played at Worlds, is all you really need to know. And the
Yep.
pros knew about this ahead of time. Assassin's Blessing is the first thing on the list of items this week, and it's going to get a bit of love. We've seen a little bit of
health.
talk about the Assassin's Blessing. It's now going to provide 50 health. Not only that, we're going to increase the mana restored from 20 to 25. Small little bit of extra love here, Pam.
Yeah, they were saying this was the underwhelming blessing of all the blessings that were available.
Good.
It allowed you to jungle effectively, but it didn't really do much past that.
Right.
We want to make it a little bit more so that you have a bit more tankiness early on.
That's fair. I mean, we did take a couple of knocks
it's like
here
a
and there.
fairly big
Blackthorn
bump.
Hammer next on the
Like,
list
50
is going to
health
get a
is
cost
decent at
increase.
level 1.
It was 2,000 gold, which
So-
was pretty damn cheap for what it gave you.
Yeah.
It's going to go up in cost here by 200 gold to 2,200. So still keeps
finally.
the same item stats, just a little bit more expensive.
Yeah, the stat efficiency on
Finally,
this was
dude.
just really, really high. It was one of those items that was deemed underwhelming, and we buffed it, and eventually like, oh, this is a pretty good item now. And so now we're making its cost better reflect its actual stat weight. It's still going to be a really core item for bruiser assassins or more kind of offensive warriors where they want that early health
was
spike.
way too cheap
but it
for
won't
way
be
too
so
long.
overwhelming that it's going to outpace other items.
Just so you
Way
guys
too
at home
long.
know as well, you assault mains like me, you can still get it in assault and
At
a
least
blessing
it's
at the beginning
something,
of the
dude.
game, so it's still very, very good there.
So.
Heartseeker is the last item on the list of item balance this week, and we're going to be looking at the cost first of all. It's
baby.
going up in price. It was 2,900 gold, it's now going to be 3,100 gold. But we also fixed an issue where this item was providing 70 physical power instead of the listed 75 physical power.
Yeah,
so the tooltip is now going to be correct, is what you're telling me.
The tooltip is correct, the cost is going up, and the whole goal here is to better reinforce its identity as this is the late game assassin burst item. This is the item that you build if
bugged.
You've been building a lot of power and you're going more towards trying to like all in kill someone versus the more hybrid builds, and so that cost is going to better reflect that goal.
3,100 gold is very expensive. Just buy your transcendence.
Thank you. Just so your Assault mains at home know, we no longer, if you play Medusa and Neath and Assault, can pick Heartseeker first item. It's a disappointment situation. Wait in base for 100 gold, then come into lane with it. You'll have a good time.
That sounds like a bad strat.
Dude, have you tried Neath Heartseeker? If you go into Assault, guys, try it. It's
That's
amazing.
fine. Waiting in base for 100 gold, I'm not sure is a good idea.
I see supporters doing it for an aura and a blessing, okay?
That's how like you wait and then Ares blinks and pulls everyone.
Yeah, 3,100 gold for Heartseeker.
When you get to lane.
I'm not sold on
genius
that.
idea. What am I
guess
There's more farm there for you, Pon. Think about the knock-on effects, you know?
It gives you so much power, and it gives cooldown. Look at that.
I like the patch. What can I say? I mean, everything on the patch almost. I'm just going to clarify.
I think you'll like this one.
Achilles. What about it?
Yeah, the auto attack range.
Oh, they're giving it back.
Achilles either way, to be honest, no offense.
Plenty of people did.
They did, and they were very upset about this. So here we go. Increased basic attack range on Achilles again. It was 12 after being nerfed to 12. It's going to 16. And we've also updated Achilles' basic attack animation to better represent this increased range.
Yep.
Okay.
Good stuff.
Yeah, this was a change that we did to. It was both a bounce pass and a feedback
it's
pass.
not that
after
big of a
players
deal.
Played with it for a while. They're like, no,
I don't love the
feel
idea of buffing
Achilles.
Achilles.
There's a lot
He
to the
played a
combat
lot.
flow that kind of
He's
lends
a strong
itself to that
character
extended
still.
range. And so we brought it back. We also wanted to bring it back without reintroducing the previous problem it had of having bad conveyance.
Yeah.
So we also
So that's
updated
not
the
that big of a
animation so
deal?
that he actually grips the spear a bit lower, so you get a bit more range.
It feels like he's got a real pokey stick now. Let's see how that works out. Next on the list is another A character, Arpoche, and he's getting a very interesting change too. Undead Surge, the first ability for you guys at home, now applies a 40% reduction in healing for 5 seconds. Is he still going to have the stun effects and the healing stuff on there?
So he still has all the previous interactions he's had, and his ult will also still apply a separate, different anti-heal.
Wow.
The whole goal here is to double down really on Arpoche's identity as the anti-healer character.
Okay.
He brings a lot utility in regards to the 3 dot. He has the ult, which creates an anti-heal field that if people are caught in it, they are healing reduced. And this is just going to further push that theme of his.
So he's just the anti-healy boy.
Anti-heal love for him.
All
That's
right.
a good bit of
There you
anti-heal
go.
love, by the way.
When you think of anti-heal, think of Pooch.
Another mage is the next on my list is Kukulkan.
So
now, here's some changes for him. I'm excited to
you
read this.
buffing
These
him?
are awesome.
I
I am
actually
a Cuckoo main at
think
heart.
he's pretty
General increased base
good
health
right
from
now.
365 to 380.
That's
Okay,
fine.
we're surviving another Archer minion. Increased health per level from 68 to 75. Okay, we're surviving a couple of Archer minions. Increased movement speed from 355 to 360. Oh, we're zooming. We're zooming.
Going a bit faster.
Especially with the wiggly worm number, the
Big
second ability
stats.
too. I also
Yeah,
get that
it's going to be better.
Okay, and then Whirlwind. Oh, increase the rate at which Whirlwind attempts to apply or refresh the damaging effect on a player in the area every 0.5 seconds.
That's
to
huge,
every
actually.
0.25 seconds.
So TLDR of that
that's
is
huge.
he puts Whirlwind down.
He does.
It was previously you basically had it, when he cast it, the time it first applied the tornado dot was 2 seconds.
Yeah.
This is now down to 1.75, so apply a bit quicker.
Okay.
Also, if you were if it was deployed every 0.5 seconds, it's basically checking, hey, is a new person in here to apply a dot to?
Right.
Now it's checking
Nice.
much more often. So if you were
That's
just
actually a
touch it
nice
on your way,
buff.
walking away, you are more likely to actually have the dot applied to you.
Very
And
nice.
then the final note, that's pretty cool.
The final note. Whirlwind now deals 1 additional tick of damage when first applied to an enemy. So it just initiates quicker.
Yeah,
it goes
so
bop, and then
previously
goes-
you had the dot applied to you, and then had to
then it
wait
waited
for
a
the
second?
tick.
Yeah.
Now it'll apply once you are hit by the dot, it'll apply immediately. So he's basically getting an extra dot tick of this ability. And this is just one of those things where Kukulkan's been underperforming for a while. He's definitely a popular
Nice.
character and does good
Yeah,
enough
buddy.
in most cases.
Yeah.
But
I don't know
he's
what to
just
tell
been
you guys.
underperforming in
Kukulkan's
sort of the
underrated.
top end.
Severely
his
underrated.
itemization's awkward too, I guess, with how the meta's been just lately as well.
Yeah,
So-
things have changed around Kukulkan a lot, and so we
Yeah.
wanted to give him a little bit of love to make sure
He's going to be good in ranked. He's going to be
What's his
real
items are
good
bad,
in
by
ranked.
the way.
I
I'm just
might
saying,
go
like,
play
the
him after
animation
this
we couldn't
patch,
see.
just
A high-level
because I'm
play is
feeling
kind of the way.
inspired to
After
show you how
Kukulkan.
strong
Okay,
he is
Pom,
already.
This is the one I want to see. Persephone.
This is like a full page.
Persephone. Tell me about Persephone first of all.
I don't know if she's getting buffed or
It's a very difficult character, as people have learned. Managing this garden is not an easy task, and if you do it effectively, you can do some really cool things. But if you're not necessarily that great at it, or your pre-planning is a bit poor, you're going to struggle with her quite a bit. And so,
Plants now deal 50%
as
damage
people have
while
learned her, we've seen people get better with her, but she's still underperforming in most game modes and in most situations where she just isn't bringing enough to the table. And so, in this patch, we want to reduce some frustration that she has, where that players are feeling.
Like a buff.
Improve some conveyance on certain abilities, and then bring up some power in places that we think are going to help.
They're buffing her.
So,
Yep.
reduce frustration, fix some
She's
conveyance
getting buffed.
issues, and bring up her overall power so that she's going to be a bit more consistent in her.
This sounds like a really tricky task.
Yeah, this is not easy.
To
This'll
like
be interesting.
reduce frustration that players are
see
definitely
where she
feeling,
gets
but also
buffed.
trying to make sure she's good.
And largely, we're focusing there on reduced frustration is that early laning phase, where you are constantly fighting against her completely set up garden.
Okay.
That's really where we're reducing the frustration, and we're helping each individual plant, as well as like a small burst of like 3 plants, be a bit more effective.
Okay, let's go through them. Pomegranate seeds, first of all. Persephone's harvest plants now deal 50% damage while in her revived state to match Persephone's damage reduction.
Yep.
Persephone now gains 100% of her mana back when entering a death state, so she can use those abilities. And added a brief lockout so players cannot accidentally cancel reviving themselves.
Yeah, you'd be like right-clicking an ability right as
I've done that many
and
times.
then you would actually cancel the whole revive effect. And so now there's a bit of a lockout, so if you're canceling it, it's going to be more intentional.
Next up is Bone Rush, the first ability. The damage area of Bone Rush is now a rolling line attack. This means players close to the explosion are hit earlier than those far away.
Think Geb Shockwave.
Right, okay. Is it because the animation went off and it lands all the way and then the damage came on? Is that
so it'll hit you and it'll explosion of bones, and because those bones have travel time, it'll now actually damage as those bones are traveling instead of just an immediate rectangle of damage.
Gotcha. Add an intro sound to give players better feedback this ability has
Not
been
really sure
cast.
what that means, to be honest.
And also the damage area of Bone Rush now displays a warning targeter. Okay. That's it for Bone Rush. Moving on to Harvest next. Harvest's max count has been decreased from 10 at all levels to scaling. It goes 6, 6,
I haven't really seen the buff
10.
yet. That's a nerf.
Top end. Increased Harvest explosion scaling though from 75% to 80%. Increased Harvest bite scaling from 85% to 90%. Upon that's painful. And decreased subsequent damage reduction from 50 down up to 87.5 is now going to be 40 to 78%. Harvest now displays a buff bar counter to indicate how many harvest plants are active, and added a new minimap icon for Persephone's harvest plants.
Yes, so a lot of stuff there. Largely reducing the amount that she can have out early, so that when you're playing against her in the laning phase, she doesn't have access to so many plants and so many answers that quickly. But when she gets to late stages,
I
where
feel
she
like
might
that
only
was
have time
mostly
to
a
set 2 or 3
nerf.
plants, those plants individually going to be more effective, and as
there
a
any
burst
more?
combo, if she explodes 3 on you,
I feel like that was
instead of being
basically
reduced,
all
the third
nerfs.
explosion being reduced to
Like,
87.
even with a little bit of that bonus
78.
damage, it's definitely
so those
a
kind of
nerf.
damage numbers add up over the course of the game.
Okay, that's it for Persephone.
Also, one other fix that got in a bit later, but we did get in. There were some issues where if you tried to beads the grasp in very specific situations, you wouldn't be able to actually. You'd still be trapped.
That's true.
We believe we found the repro for that, and we fixed it.
Awesome. I was going to ask about that, but I didn't want to put
feel
you on the spot in
like
case we didn't
it
have
was
that in.
mostly
Good to hear.
a
So
nerf.
keep an eye on Persephone. Let us know your feedback on that. Moving on to Raijin next up, and it's Raiju, who's inside the belly button of Raijin, if you didn't know.
Yes, he
Some
is.
Lore masters out there.
He's like an
Raiju
elephant or
increases
something.
Raiju's base bounce damage tick from 9 to 33 is now going to be 14 to 50, so some dot increased damage there. Increase, and not only that, I'll just keep saying the word increase because I'm an idiot. Increase Raiju's bounce damage tick scaling as well. It was 8% up to 10%, so just all around love for Raiju.
Yeah, this we made a balance change a while ago that actually reduced
Some buffs
this.
to
We saw a
your
large drop in
jumpy
his
boy.
ability to kind of like deal with wave clear, poke enemies, and harass enemies.
I haven't seen a
Raijin
Raijin
does
in
bring some
forever.
stuff to the team, and we have seen him flex
Forever.
into like SPL matches.
So,
yeah.
But he just hasn't been performing overall as well, and so we want to give some of that power back to him.
Okay, so Raijin back on the table potentially.
Interesting.
And then moving on to Set next on the list. How's Set been doing?
Nerf him.
He is very similar in that he's very difficult to play.
Yes.
Right.
It's kind of a theme.
Yep.
Kind of
We're
but-
releasing more tricky gods, I guess.
Yeah, but as you've learned to play him,
People can be
have
really
kind of found
bad
that this
at
tanky
that.
build with him, this kind of more bruisery build, is really good with him because it allows him to dive and get a lot out of Kingslayer. And so that's what these changes are kind of targeted towards, is that specific build where he got a whole bunch of base healing and a whole bunch of base damage. We've reduced the bases, but we've given some scaling back so that if you are building that more offensive set, you will get more healing and you will get more damage for each individual proc.
As you can see on the screen there, decreased base damage from 25 to 85 will be 25 to 65. We've also increased the damage scaling from 25% to 30%. Decreased the base healing from 40 to 105 is going to be 45 to 45 to 85. Ooh, nearly said 185 then, people were upset. Increased healing scaling from 20% to 25% and updated the description to make it more clear that only sets attacks mark enemies.
Yep.
People get confused about that?
Item interaction.
Forcing his ultimate to be a little bit more,
so that's more
a
clear
little bit
now
more
that it's going to be
focused. If you
the
build
things that set
tankier,
is
you
doing
won't
himself.
quite sustain.
Well, you already saw there's one dinosaur
Still a
on the
great
skin
ability.
section in chat, but another dinosaur we've got in the game is Sobek. And Sobek is getting some love this week.
Yeah, that's my
Guardian mains
boy.
out there. Charge Prey is going to have a decreased cooldown. It was 15 seconds. It's going to come down by 2 seconds to 13 seconds at all ranks.
Sure.
That
Love
is
me a
good
little
1.1
back.
buff there. And Sickening Strike increased the damage of this ability. It was 60 to 220. It's going to be buffed in the early game.
20
up to 220
damage.
still at the late
All
stages.
right, I'll take
Should help
that
him
for
overall.
wave clear.
Yeah, we had to bring him down a little bit.
I'll
when
take
he
that.
was, very strong in the soul
20
lane.
damage for my lane
but
clear.
since then, Warriors have kind of gotten their own better footing back in that soul lane, and we wanted to make buffs to Sobek that were more targeted towards his supporting. Plucking someone with Charge Prey is a more supporting setup move for potentially a hunter or another carry in your lane. As well as Sickening Strike is a decent wave clear bump, but that wasn't necessarily the thing that he was really good at anyway. He often stalled the wave versus clearing it, but this will help him significantly if he has to fight purple buff or if he has to help clear the wave. So just overall
Even
things
good
to
for
help
poke
Sobek
damage.
come back in.
Just be ready for Weekend's YouTube video. Sobek jungle, question mark, no assassin's blessing, question mark. Wait, it'll be there. Tyr, also on the list. Wait, what?
It froze as he said, wait, what?
So
Is that real?
Wow.
If
timing,
people are
though.
familiar with
real?
the Warriors tiers patch,
No longer disarm
going back a little bit.
enemies.
So-
Just
okay,
for tier. Just
okay.
for tier.
Now, you guys at home are like, Hindu, what are you talking about? Obviously, it's a bad thing because no longer disarms enemies, right? It's a nerf. Wait for the next line of this text, boys
Don't
and
knock
girls.
up again.
He's back. It's back.
No.
The one and only
No.
knock-up in blue stance is back on the cards. Now knocks up enemies in fearless guard stance.
Yep, so old tier used to be able
Not
to do
the
fearless into a
wombo
power cleave and a
combo.
switch stance into another fearless
Not
that
the
knocked up.
wombo
He can do that again.
combo.
Yeah.
He's been one of those characters that
since then, he's had changed stance as well. So now he can
Yeah.
go level 1.
Somewhere lasses
change
is
stance
like,
fearless.
I'm playing Smite
Okay.
again.
Yeah, but this is one of the things that we've done a lot of changes to him over time, but also the game has changed so much over that course of time. And we have done a lot of things to help him out, but he's never really come back into
man.
like prevalence in the soul lane.
Right.
He struggled against
God,
other
that
characters
combo
still.
is
He does
so
play enough, and he's a good
unfun
counter
to
pick in
play
certain
against
situations.
as a
We want to give him a
squishy
bit
character.
more overall utility that he can bring to the
Knock
fight that
up
isn't just
combo
fearsing
into
someone
a
into a
knock
team.
up combo. You literally
I'm waiting
take
for
his
those
full
videos.
combo
Show
to
me
the
those gifts, boys and
dough.
girls.
To
I'm
the
excited to
dough.
see him. So Tyr, big buff there for him. We'll see how that plays out. And finally, the last god on the list this week for a balance update is going to be
Jeez.
Jibalonke, the man who lost the Sun on the Dockies of Nights. He's gonna get a
20%
bit
at
of
all
love on his
ranks.
poison
You don't
dots.
say.
He used to scale in the slow department on poison dots. It
Interesting.
was 4 to 20% as you max it
Okay.
out. Now it's going to be a 20% rank flat amount at all ranks. So 20% slow on the 2.
That's
Yeah,
not bad.
4% slow is just one of those things that you don't really feel,
No,
and
you
it kind
don't.
of felt weird to have that restriction on him. He did have
That's
a
not
very
bad.
powerful ult previously where he could stun, and we saw that actually changing that so it no longer stuns saw a pretty large reduction in his overall performance. It's one of those things that, like, even if you could play around to avoid the stun, you having to play around and change what you were doing to actually play around it had a large impact. And so now that he's lost some of that power, we want to bring some up and give him more boxing directability. And again, 4% slow is one of those things that you just don't feel. 20% is more.
20%? I mean, that's not bad.
Really good.
not bad
the patch
ability.
overall, then, some good feedback. We're going to see some opportunities.
It also gives you room
for
to not
situations
level up
in
that
your
ability
games
and like
to
just
be
rank up
better
your bolas
for
or
everybody
something.
in terms of
and
your
go for
ranked
the
experiences
boxes,
in case things
you
go
know?
wrong. And not only that, you've also got the auto buy features as well.
So.
We've improved stuff there. Good stuff, Pom.
Yeah, lots of good stuff. We've been
I'm
working hard on
giving
this
you all the
patch.
credit.
No, don't do that.
It's
the
all
whole
Pom.
team. It's the whole team.
It's all
We're
Pom.
all in this together.
Specifically the tier change. It's all Pon.
Yeah,
That's
that,
the main
I'll
thing.
take that.
That's it from me and Pon on the desk this week
Yeah.
for the balance section.
That
Let's get it
tier
back over to
change
Ryan for some
was
skins. So we
that
can
was
get to that new
Pon.
god.
He wanted his.
Thank you very much, Pon
tier
Pon, for
back.
doing all the balance stuff by yourself. At
No, I
least
can't
that's what
believe they
Hinderman
didn't
told
nerf
me, so it's
Thor
got to be
or
true.
Isis
He would
or
never
look at
lie to us
AMA or
about that,
anything,
for
dude.
sure. That's
believe-
definitely the
I mean, I guess I
truth,
can, 'cause it's the
100%.
World's Patch. They
Don't
never
believe
change
him
anything that
whatsoever.
crazy, so.
Anyways, it's time for some Odyssey skin segment before we get into Yemoja just a little bit. Joining me on the set here, we've got AJ, we've got Clumsy, and we've got Chris
Clumsy!
joining us to go over some sweet
Titan
skins. Guys,
Cinnamon.
let's start off with Persephone. She's a cute cultivator now.
Okay.
Real cute.
Oh yeah.
That's the thing. She's dark and scary but cool,
That's true,
you know,
Devil.
kind of
You're
toes
right, you're
that
right, you're
line
right.
very well normally. Now she's just straight up cute cultivator.
Her plants are one of the creepiest things we've ever made.
Wait, you're telling me
Previously. So
Oh,
we wanted
the
to make
base
them,
Persephone.
we wanted to make them nice and cute and fun. But now knowing the context
Okay.
in which they grow and then slowly fester and then come and attack you and try to chomp you and they're very cute, that might actually be creepier. I'm not sure if I've
The
decided.
Adam changes were
It's
disappointing.
awesome either way.
Like I
Okay,
said, we're
all right,
close
well,
to
we should be able
Worlds.
to
They
find
don't
out
do that
pretty
many
soon, and
changes.
we should be able to
close
check this
Worlds.
out. Now, these are all the Odyssey skins that we're going to go over
They never
right
do.
now. So if you say pre-purchased the Odyssey so you can get access to that tier 5 Baron Somni skin right away, now you already have these.
You are
basically.
getting this skin, yeah.
right away.
So we just love this idea of Persephone just being like
It's like a Pippi
cute,
Longstocking
wholesome main
Persephone.
character from a
You know?
fun, like relaxing farming game.
Yeah,
you know,
this-
that kind of idea. It's
Yes,
it's a
basically.
very popular
But,
genre.
yes.
I could also
So-
really see this as a summertime straight to cable TV movie.
Okay, aggro.
Hey, those make a lot of money, or
Okay.
else they wouldn't make them.
Yeah,
you know?
sure.
That's the way I'm looking at it for
She's
sure.
just got a really cool different outfit. It's very different from her base, and she has these really happy, cute sunflower guys. Look at how much they love her. They just
I was just thinking
they
that.
just want
We're
her
spending a
attention and
lot of
nothing else. That's all
time
they
on
care
this.
about
They're
is
like
their-
flower
card
puppies.
They're amazing plant goddess. Yes, plant puppies. I love
Yeah.
it.
We want to see
All
the
right,
new
that,
guy.
that works for me. Let's take a listen
so
to the
cute.
voice pack here for cute cultivator Persephone.
It's not easy being a farmer. There's just so many things you need to keep tabs on. Oh, I need a nap. Let me give you a tour of the farm. I've got the horses in the back. Your KDA reminds me of a story about the Garden of Eden.
Damn it.
She's so wholesome.
Got me.
So wholesome and meming at the same time. That's ideal right there. This I mean,
A little scarecrow
So
guy runs at you.
That's cool.
Well,
we're gonna have
that's it,
a
folks.
much
That's
creepier
it for me.
scarecrow later, but that's
Oh, yeah.
for later. This one, nice
They
and
got
cute
me.
and nice.
I laughed.
Okay, so it
It's
is.
all over.
Oh, that's nice. I like the
all
effects. They're
over.
much more green and
That's
lively.
the end of
there's some
my
green
career.
Look at
in
those happy faces.
default Persephone, but this one definitely a little bit more vibrant.
Very
say.
different feel to it, you know.
very
A lot
different.
of people have been asking us we make a plant goddess for years, and I think they would expect one with a little bit of a lighter tone
that a
than Persephone.
barnyard
I love how
sound, or she
Persephone's
did it?
themes of life and death work
It is.
together, but we really liked to explore the idea of something cute and happy for an alternate skin for Persephone.
Yep.
Looks great. Definitely the vibrant colors. It looks like the country sun certainly coming down.
Oh, the
Oh,
crops.
that's so cool.
Is there a banjo?
I will point out that vine is still being adjusted. That's not the intended color. It's very dark. It's going to be all bright and happy. I like the crops. Her like run cycle and her
There's a
skip,
banjo
everything
that
feels
plays
so
on
good
the
with
old.
skin
Yeah.
too.
Pretty sick.
It's really the arm position, I think. With regular Persephone, her arms aren't kind of like floating out there like that. That's a huge difference in tone just
Right.
from that little bit of body language.
She's just trying to run around and water everything, harvest everything, make sure she min-maxes that bankroll so she can keep growing the farm.
I actually really like just like the tier 1 plants in the ground. It looks so adorable. It's a little.
It's got pretty good
spicy
sound
The little
effects,
buds.
Yeah, the
actually.
little buds just when you first put them down. Looks great.
Awesome.
good
Super
sound
excited for this.
Can we
skin.
see the
Again,
ult
this
from the
is-
front?
What's that?
Can we see the ult from the
Oh,
front?
good question.
yeah.
That might be a difficult.
Oh, okay.
You got some camera jutsu.
Pon
coming on.
the driver is a pro.
I
at
believe in you,
this.
Pon.
Harry Pond.
Yes.
Camera rove.
Oh yeah, because you always get a really interesting view when she's shooting this at you.
Yeah.
Normally it's that scary skull.
Which is terrifying. I'm sure this will still be terrifying, but it's going to be cute at least.
And we've got the
Kind of
scarecrow.
still super scary.
Oh my god.
That is
Scarecrow head with the
amazing.
hat on.
Oh,
That
that's
is
so cool.
so cool. That's still
nice.
gonna like
Its
scare the
hap-
crap
its
out of me when I'm
happiness is
walking out of
almost
base and
scary.
end up
Just barely missed that edge there. Wow, that's
and end up
crazy.
getting flattened by this thing, but I mean, it's a little bit less scary than the giant skull coming at me most of the time.
Like I said, the happiness kind of makes it more scary to some
Yeah, a
people.
little bit.
But overall, very cute and fun, and something we've never really done before. So we're really trying to push ourselves on the content and skin team to continue to explore new art styles, new
It's
skin
different.
themes, things like that we've never done before. So I really hope the community
It's
appreciates
different.
this
I like
one.
it.
I
Yeah,
love it.
I like
no
it.
doubt about it. All right, next one up.
Took too
It's
long on the skin,
Whirlwind
but let's
Tech
move on.
Jing Chen.
Okay, this is literally
this
the chalk skin.
one of the cool mech skins. I love the face built in, but he also has it looks like he has an actual head.
Helmet.
Yeah, that's
on
an
the
important
skin.
part of our Xingqian. On the base form of the god, he still does have that helmet there.
Sure.
Although we always try to make sure that the chest face is prominently featured.
And certainly is here. Let's take a listen to the voice pack for him.
Let's see how high a kill count I can rack up with this body. You humans really know how to build a good war machine. Your chances of survival are somehow below 0%.
Man.
They didn't
That's
get me
impressive.
that time. I've
Below
redeemed
zero.
myself.
So you see we've
I've
added a
redeemed
lot
myself.
of, I mean, we use the base Xing-Chen animations
Okay.
through the chest to add a whole lot of more movement and pieces to this type of skin than you would see at a normal mech skin.
Sure.
We've also done some interesting experiment with those shoulders.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting, kind of different material, different color, different shape than what you normally see. I'm really happy with how it turned out. I think it gives him a really cool look.
The skin itself,
Super
I'm
bulky, but that's kind of
super
Xing-Chen,
schmat.
right? He is
super
this
schmat.
kind of man mountain running at you.
Yeah,
sure
I mean,
is.
A lot of
his
the time.
build, you definitely won't mistake the fact that it's Xing-Chen. Like, it's very, the shoulder pads.
The sound effects
So
and like
this character's
animations
got a
are
long
pretty
time
cool.
without a skin, so we know people have been really asking for one, and often people really liked this theme form as well. This is a really focused on community feedback on how to go about creating this skin.
Man, that is sweet. That ultimate when you light up like that, and it feels like
I think
just
it's
using
fine.
those
A little-
boosters is so key in this
a
skin.
little
to kind
generic.
Of where those
A
are
little
gonna pop
generic
out
for
and,
me.
and in the direction. I mean, Chris, from
But
the
it's
effects
fine.
side, I mean, is that with these mech skins that a big focus is? Where are we putting these little areas of quick movement with the boosters?
Yeah,
Did
from
he
the
just throw him
beginning,
back
the
into
effects
place?
was this one.
That was
That was like
kinda
the big thing that he
Get
wanted
back
to
in their
tackle is he
spot.
wanted to get these stunt thrusters feeling good and where they needed to be. And I mean, like you said, it adds a lot.
I'm pretty
Really
neutral on this.
Justify
I'm not
the
like
whirlwind
super against
movement,
it.
Like,
I'm not gonna
he's
fight
got a
for it.
rocket-powered whirlwind. It looks sick.
That is awesome. Absolutely love it. All right, next up, we've got Dawn Defender Thor. This one is one of my favorite card arts we have done maybe ever. I love this card art.
Is this like
Probably
the
because there's a
casual
little bit of extra
clothing
lightning,
theme,
but
like they did
this
with
looks
Susan?
awesome. Apparently, it's the same theme as Vigilante Susano, so in the same universe, so to speak.
Right, yeah, we've kind of been expanding
does
into
he
this
do
sort
it?
of like anti-hero or vigilante
do it?
theme, as if the gods were like
Incredible.
just having to construct their own super suits and then save people in this modern universe.
Awesome. Absolutely sweet. All right, let's take a listen to the voice pack.
You know what the best crime deterrent is? My hammer. Make sure you kids have your daily dose of Thorios, packed full of thunder and lightning.
I just don't like this theme.
You know why they call me the hammer?
I don't know.
Because I'm jacked.
Ah,
Yeah,
I got that.
that's
That
about as good
doesn't
as
that
Smite
doesn't do it
Smite
for
should.
me, man.
Yeah, that is. You're not wrong.
The last
It seems
skin,
like we have
I was
someone
pretty
special to
neutral.
We should
blame.
hire a
This
comedian
skin,
eventually.
I don't know.
We don't have one yet.
I might
Wait, we
be
don't? That's
anti this
surprising, though.
skin.
We all kind of moonlight as
He
one.
may be an anti-hero.
Now that-
but
we have someone in particular to blame for this one, apparently, in those jokes,
don't
because
love it.
Thor DG helped write this voice pack.
Oh, God,
that's
I
awesome.
knew it, dude.
Yeah. So now that makes some sense, I suppose. Definitely all about this sort of modern day superhero sort of feel for
Those effects.
these gods.
Yeah, so it's got kind of a city feel, as you see through the graffiti and the effects, and that's
Yo,
all been
look at
shown
his
through,
legs,
like,
dude. He's
self-made
got the teeniest,
super
ittiest,
suits.
bittiest
And we have some
cap.
interesting extra
My man
features with this
skipped
skin. where
leg
the-
day, dude. Oh my
Ooh,
goodness.
featured a lot of graffiti on there.
What?
And that might look like a lot of
He's
things
so
to you, but what that is
teeny-tiny.
actually individual
He's got
gamer
itty
tags
bitty boy
in the
legs,
graffiti
dude.
art
He's
style
got Matty
for
Pocket
a
legs.
huge amount of the
You can
higher
barely even see him, dude. Look at that.
so
Look at that
cool.
So
angle.
you'll see
Oh
on
my
there,
goodness.
all of us, Pon, Clumsy, Ajax,
Holy.
well, Chris's name
That's
is
so sweet.
Cinnamons, which he uses in game. You're going to see a lot of people on there. These are all
The wall's cool.
real from the team. So if you see a name on there that you don't recognize, that's actually someone who works on Smite
Man,
and
that's
plays
so
Smite.
sick.
But not everyone is in the public eye, commenting on forums and things like that for them to show off
The
those
wall's
names.
cool.
But now they're all immortalized here on Thor's graffiti
I'm
wall.
gonna need to use this skin in game and just smash people down.
Yeah, so like me,
My own name in
Pon and
there.
Ajax are right there at the front. You can see Pon and the cursive Ajax on the
Oh,
bottom
sweet.
left.
Oh, there's my boy Hijiki.
There's Clumsy. Yeah, Hijiki's up there.
Oh, yeah.
Chaos is up there.
There's Travis.
Tina's over there.
Nice.
Travis. And then many, many more. Especially we want to make
Too
it
bad the
clear
rest
that
of the
like, we just
skin
have so many
sucks.
people on the team that love Smite and play Smite.
Uh-huh.
And even though you don't hear about them, it's a big team. So that's
Right.
why we really filled that name with walls. Big shout out to our effects lead, Mike.
Dude, that
who
is so cool.
Went above and beyond to come up with this idea and worked on his personal time to make sure everyone got on there. So we really love it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
super.
Yeah, I just.
You guys think it's too late? Like,
my thing.
aggro's pretty small. You
The
know, it's
wall-
not like
the
a
wall
lot of
idea
letters,
is
like,
cool,
It's not,
but the rest
it's not
of the skin
live
to me-
yet.
I
You know,
mean,
maybe
I don't think we
PTS.
did
Don't love
include
it.
the casters, but
It's
we can-
fine,
we can
man.
look into it.
Guess we just got to get a whole new skin for us. I don't know.
And there's one more special feature on this skin.
and that's a VXG.
Yeah, so the idea that you can actually special tag parts of the map and it
Yep.
remains there with
Yeah,
Thor,
we did that with Susan.
That is awesome.
which we added on the only one other skin, the Susano skin.
yep, the
this is the
Vigilante
only other skin
Susano.
that
Oh,
has
they both
that.
do that. That's so cool.
So they now have this special tagging feature like you'd often see in games, multiplayer games.
Yeah, I definitely have died by invading a speed buff and then waiting until I'm out of combat so I can VXG mark the ground.
Oh man.
And let them know that I stole it.
Next level taunt.
I have died for that, but
it's worth it.
It is worth it, at least in my mind.
So a lot of like we really tried to, like you said, to put our heart into the skin and add a few more really interesting things.
That we want to see the new
paid
god
off there. All right, Swift Scurrier Neath. This one caught me off guard.
Now this looks
honestly,
different.
Like I said, coming in, I hadn't
This is
gotten
very
a chance
different.
to see any of these beforehand. I was like, Swift Scurrier
I mean,
Neath.
it's not
what could this
different to be a Neath skin. Every
it is
patch is a Neath skin.
completely new model.
It's crazy.
For
and
Neath.
I mean, I guess just
At least
I've
it's a
been
whole
saying it
totally
before,
new
but we're really
idea,
pushing
though.
ourselves to continually come up with new themes and really interesting visual changes to our characters.
I think that
Once you see this in game, you're going to be mind blown.
Well, let's get right into it and listen to the voice pack.
I may be small, but I assure you, I am not timid. Let's show these bandits who they're messing with.
Voice pack hurts my ears a little.
Who are you calling mousy? I'll show you, mousy. Yay! I love picking on bandits twice my size.
Okay.
I can't. My mind is blown. You definitely
look at that.
nailed it.
Look at
Voice
how good
pack
that looks.
hurts.
She's cute, dude.
Yeah, I know. It's just.
It looks.
Wow.
I mean,
That voice
honestly,
pack.
I'd say this a lot internally. I don't say a lot in public, but
The auto
this
attacks are
character
cool.
looks good enough to be its lead in its own game.
Yeah.
That's really, we try to push ourselves in the skin team to think of characters that are
That's a cool.
interesting
That's a
enough
really
visually that
cool
they could
one.
literally be the lead
That's
of
a
their own
really
games.
cool one spell effect.
Or larger games.
Yeah.
Especially once we start to flesh out the whole theme. This is the first real skin that we've gone into this theme. If people really like it, we'll definitely look into doing this on other gods in the future. It's kind of like a
I think
heroic
the skin looks
animal
cool,
fantasy
honestly. I just the
universe.
voice pack.
So imagine
was
mages and rogues and archers and warriors, but everyone's
pretty
animals.
rough.
Yeah.
Actually,
This is
the
kind of
skin's
where
cool.
this character
I
came
like the
from,
green effects too.
and the
There's not a lot of
execution
spell
our
effects
team
like
did
that.
such a
that
great
have
job. The
that cool
effects look
green on it.
beautiful.
Effects
The
are
model looks
beautiful.
amazing.
It's like woodsy, vibrant green.
Yeah, yeah.
Like even there, wow.
Everything about this skin is it's awesome.
And you know, we know that people have specific feelings about Neath skins.
Yeah.
But
This one's
Neath
different.
is incredibly popular and successful, and with those gods that, you know, even more so than all of our gods, but gods who get a lot of skins are gods, we really try to push ourselves to continue to make something very new and something that's a very different experience like Neath players have never seen before.
Yeah,
fine.
Neath can
It's
have
fine. I think
10
the
more
skin's
skins
decent.
after this, and none will be like this, right?
Well,
that's
we're gonna
what's
try and push ourselves to keep
Is it?
doing
We'll
10
keep
new
trying.
ones.
Yeah.
It's really hard to continually top ourselves. It's really hard. We
cool.
talk about it all the time, but it's really important for us to at least try.
Next time we'll make her into a car.
Okay, dang it.
Oh,
Way to
sorry.
spoil, man.
Spoiled.
If that gets to the level of Chef Vulcan or Cruising Boat with a Gun, we will have to do it. That's
Yeah,
the,
and it'll
that's
be
the
your
real
fault,
truth,
Chris.
though.
You're gonna have
But
that
you
on
know
your
what?
shoulders.
We really embrace that, and we really like it when the
Neath as a
community
car.
is vocal and tells us about the things they're really interested in, and when we take
Don't
and
see it.
we feel really comfortable to take these risks and try really new things in our god designs as well.
Oh, yeah.
Because the community really supports us in that effort, and it's really amazing. It's a really great place to be as developers. We really appreciate it.
It
I
hits
think
me
the,
how
I've
much
got a
less
note here
cool
that
the
says
skins
magic
become
bow was a
after we
last
sit here
minute
for this
kind
long.
of change up that really brought it all together.
Like,
the
the
idea to
longer
not
we
shoot
stay on the
arrows
skin,
really
the
and
more
have
that
this
I'm
kind of
liking it
magical
less.
shot instead, I think really does.
There's like a
add
direct
an
correlation
extra
between
level.
every minute that
I really do
passes
love
and me
how the
liking the
entire
skin
effects
just a little bit
package
less
came
than I did
together.
before.
Like, this was kind of a difficult one. I remember in early brainstorming, we were like,
Like, if you tell
how
me one more
exactly to
time
make
how
the
hard you worked
arrows
on
and
this skin,
everything feel
Ajax,
unique and
I'm gonna
fit
kiss
theme,
you on the
and I think
mouth,
this
okay?
Magic, but with just hints of nature, it's beautiful.
Also, my favorite color being green doesn't hurt.
True.
My perception of the
True.
skin, I love it. All right, Wise Wizard Merlin.
All right.
Next up, and this is going to be the final Odyssey skin for this, but not the final skin
Now
overall.
this I'm
so I have
down
more
for. In
coming
my head,
as
this
the
is
last
what
one that's part
Merlin
of the
looks like.
Odyssey. I mean,
That's Merlin.
the Merlin that we went with, much more young and cool.
That's
and hip.
Merlin.
Gotta have a long beard.
And
version
an
of Merlin,
owl.
of
Look
course.
at him.
This is another
Look at him, dude.
community request skin.
Look at-
as the kind of theme
Look
for
at
this
the
Odyssey,
owl.
it is a reward skin. So this you will unlock by unlocking other Odyssey items and completing quests.
Perfect.
It's
And
Archimedes, dude.
we
It is. It's
knew there was a
literally
lot of community
Archimedes.
discussion about how Merlin
Yes.
should look. Should he have a little bit more traditional wizard vibe? We were really making Arthur and Merlin kind of like really big surprise characters for the game. So we took our kind of own
They were a
interpretations of them. but
surprise.
then
It was a
we
surprise to
did
see
a lot
two
of
not
potential in this
gods
type of
added
Merlin,
to a
so we
game
wanted
about
to
gods. I
honor
gotta
that
say.
and make sure we had that option in the game.
It was a surprise.
And this is essentially, if we were going to design Merlin as a true wizard with his iconic hat and beard, this is what we would have done, and this is what we did do, and it looks amazing.
By the way, I do notice the book in the back. That's the exact look of Book of Thoth in game. That's
Is it really?
Yeah, that's exactly how book looks in
Props
in
to
the
the
item
art
store.
team for those detailed
That's sweet.
call-outs.
Yeah,
to other
let me
parts
see
of
it,
the
let me
game.
see it.
I love it.
Let me
Let's
see
take
it.
a listen to the voice pack.
It has been a while since my metal has been tested, but do not underestimate this old man. Wisdom comes with age and experience.
Merlin.
However, in your case, it seems that it is not applicable.
Old man.
I had no intention of joining this battle, but you all inquired, and so here I am.
Yeah,
That's
That was like a straight shout out to the community.
I wrote this
that's
voice back,
hilarious.
and that was a bit of a meta shout
Merlin.
out for all you guys who wanted something like this.
Clumsy, is the voice actor for this skin, is it the same one doing a different accent, or it sounds so similar to the
No,
to
it
the
is
normal
actually a
Merlin?
different voice actor for this one.
I think it's really cool how similar it sounds, though.
Well, the feel was we did just want to actually
did we not
do
redo the
Merlin,
spell effects,
Yeah.
I
as
guess?
if he were a little older.
He's old.
So the design direction for the voice
Okay.
was be the same person, be
Dang.
the same character, but have that little
It's
bit
the
of
same spell effects, I
wizened
think.
age.
He's still maintaining
Dang.
his snarkiness too. It's still
Yeah.
there, but you know, he's a little bit more reserved
I was
about it.
hoping it'd be
in
new
the
spell
effects
effects.
so far don't look super different,
cool.
but have a lot more like flair
Are they
to it. He
different?
seems much
They're a
more
little
s-
different?
A
Okay.
distinct style change. Like they are representing the same types of things, but they have a very
I couldn't
cool,
tell on the
almost
other one.
more paint.
Oh, wow.
I can tell on that
painterly
one a
illustrated
little.
feel
I
to
can
them,
tell on the
Chris.
fire
Is that
stance a
They
little
were supposed
bit.
to feel,
I can
they
see a
feel
little
like
bit of a
lot
difference.
more refined, you know, because
Yeah.
as he's gone through the years,
I
he's
can't
gotten
tell a
better
difference
and
at
better,
all
so
on that.
Things feel a little more refined. And,
Like magic focused into more key elements.
Yeah,
That
See
definitely
those
feels-
waves moving
yeah.
through the fire.
yeah.
I love all the blanks.
Yeah, the flickers look amazing.
Yeah, they
Really,
do.
very good.
You can tell that he's been practicing that one. He's had to flicker away from a lot of danger in these last few years. Oh, that growing effects on the blizzard on the bottom.
I
don't think
can't
that's,
tell. I
that-
guess
that
I'm
looks
just a
new
dork.
to
I'm just
the
a loser.
skin.
I
That
can't tell
kind
the
of
difference. I'm
ruins
trying
it.
really hard.
Does
Break
that
out.
expand outwards? Yeah.
That is really
Good
awesome.
time.
Oh,
Ooh,
wow,
that
nice.
class.
Man.
Is that different? I don't know.
So cool.
I guess I don't
Merlin's
know what
so
Merlin's
sweet,
skills
you
look
guys.
like.
I don't know.
I guess I don't even know.
I've been so stoked about this character ever since we started talking about him. Just the idea of an archmage type of mastering multiple elements is so cool.
Totally nailed it for sure. Love me some Merlin, man. Again, that is going to be a reward for the Odyssey, so make sure you're keeping up to date on all those Odyssey skins.
Cool.
Want to make sure you get that as soon as you can. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, if you've already pre-purchased, you get that tier 5 Baron Samdi. You've got all this ready to go as soon as it's loaded into the game.
I didn't see the
Thank
owl,
you guys
though.
very much for
Severe
joining us. We'll be
disappointment.
back for some more skins in just a little bit, but first we've got Hindu Man standing by with Isaiah to go over some community news.
Why more skins? Why?
Thanks so much there, Ryan. And yes, we'll begin to the gods soon. I promise. We've just got
All
a
right.
couple more things to go through. And of course, joining to do that is the one and only Isaiah. How are you doing today?
Isaiah, my
How are
man.
you?
I'm good. It's a good time
Isaiah's
so
the
far.
man.
Let's go through.
you guys
some
ever
community
need
news.
something
Let's see
done,
something about
you DM
Battle Pass
Isaiah.
points weekend.
He gets
Yes,
it done.
this weekend, every game you
He
play,
takes his
you
job
get double
seriously.
battle pass points.
Okay, and an Enigma chest thing as well.
Yeah, we're doing like a double thing. So in the last Dev Insight show, we kind of talked about how we somehow missed a few Enigma chests in this battle pass. So we're doing an Enigma chest weekend.
Oh.
So every day when you win a game, you'll get an Enigma chest for a total of up to 3.
I was about to check. I'm like, hang on a second. I win
Right?
a
Yeah.
lot of games in my weekends. It's dangerous out there on the fields in the weekend. And not only that, also Harris Expo is right around the corner, you guys. Be sure to purchase your tickets and Harris Expo Dream Hack bundles. This includes the after party pass as well. All information is available at the Harris Expo website as per usual. So
Yep,
make
just
sure you
go
get
over to
that sorted.
highresexpo.com, get your ticket, get your DreamHack bundle. Everything on the screen, when you buy that bundle, you're going to get it. So swag, after party, preferred seating, exclusive meet and greet if you want to hang out with me and Hindu Man.
Nope.
The Smite digital loot pack.
I didn't sign up for that.
As well as swag for Paladins and Realm Royale.
And you can be in the crowd just like those guys were the previous years too. Make sure you check all that out. More about esports related stuff real quick too, guys. To do with esports content in the game, funny enough. Isaiah, what we got going on?
Yeah, so the community's been asking for it for a long time, and we're super excited to announce that we've got esports content coming in this next update. So every single organization that's currently in the SPL is going to have content in the game available for purchase, and some of the proceeds for that is going to go right back to the organizations.
Got some notes on that as well, just to add to Isaiah as well. Like
Sounds
some of the teams,
interesting.
there might be a situation with Obey where you might not have everything because they kind of joined us later on in the year, but there'll be things like the jump stamps being available, ward skins potentially being available. I think we'll be able to take a look at one of these now real quick as well.
Yeah, so you
What's
see
available?
the rival jump stamp there.
Were these
Just go through this. All current
already in
SPL
the
orgs have a
game?
new jump stamp and ward skin, except for the Obey, who joined the SPL late in the season. All current SPL orgs that have had profile cosmetic items introduced before Season 6 will have all of their content re-released, except for the World Championship skins. Some orgs will have more or less content due to the amount of previous released items, and some org profile cosmetics won't be on sale until their org completes their legal processes to have their items sold. This esports content will remain available for the purchase in-game until the launch of Season 7, which is around January time sometime.
Right.
January,
So
February.
TLDR, new jump stamp and ward skins for
So
current
you can
SPL
buy
orgs.
the old
if an org has been in the
esport
SPL
content.
in
It
the
doesn't- so
past,
it doesn't sound
all
like
of
they're
that
really
content is
making
gonna
new
be re-released.
content?
So all that team badge
Unless the
content
org
that we
didn't
released last
exist
season,
before?
it's going to be
So you
re-released and
can
available.
Buy
for great purchase.
old
Awesome. Get your hands on some of that
org
esports stuff then.
content if you
Moving
didn't
swiftly
beforehand,
along
is what
because
it
I know you
sounds
all
like.
care about the gods. I get it. I'm the same way. I want to play with her Riptide even more. Oh wait, a link.
So basically, go buy the
moving
SSG
on
stuff.
to Horrific Harvester
Boom.
Arp Wash. There's a new skin
Plug.
we get to show off here
Natural.
real quick. We don't get too many skins. At least when we do, we don't get the cool ones
Right,
like
I
this.
know. So this is going to be in the Halloween chest. It's that time of year again. It's time to get spooky.
It is. And here's a little look at that skin now. It's the first Scarecrow skin, and it's got a VXG as well, I believe. We should be able to go in game and maybe take a look and hear the voice pack too.
Those who refuse to pay tribute will suffer and starve.
Okay.
I'm sure you'd look nice stuffed with straw and placed on a pedestal. As the
I like it.
harvest moon
It's different.
rises, so do the shadows.
I like his little skull on his back.
And there's a little look at the voice
I like
pack.
the sound
and
of
in
that
game we
auto
go
attack
to
too,
see the
actually.
animations on this Arpwash skin. Let's have a look at those corpses. Oh, those look great.
This skin turned out so good. It's been an idea. Actually, Travis spearheaded this idea.
Oh, did he?
Travis was like, we got to get an Alpha Scarecrow in the game.
It makes sense, right? He's able to throw these
It
corpses
does
out.
make sense. It does.
I love the lantern as well because it spins at the same time.
Oh yeah, and then
It
the
does
effects
make
on the basics, like the fire, looks so good.
Corpse explosion too, the fire explosion.
Pew, pew,
Wait till you see the ultimate.
I'm waiting. At the moment, though, Pond's showing how much damage you can do to Odin bots that are immune to damage. But
No, I think he's trying to show off when we get that ultimate, some of that anti-heal. Yeah.
You see those scarecrows that just appeared too? Oh, crows of
There
them!
you
Oh
go.
my god, it's
Looks
the
so
birds!
good.
Much better.
The birds are here. I've learned so much about crows over the
Hey,
years. You know, they remember
That's a
people's
cool
faces.
skin.
Really?
Hey.
Yeah, and
Did
they
not
pass
know
it
that.
on hereditarily to their future offspring.
That's insane.
They can communicate and go, that dude was rude towards crows everywhere, and then you're blacklisted? Be nice to crows, that's what I'm saying.
The more you learn.
This instance, though, these crows are
Yeah,
pretty deadly at this
major
point. And let's see
fiddlesticks
that
vibes.
VXG.
Major.
Oh, that's
Oh,
so good.
yeah,
Just
that's
hopping
cool.
around the battleground.
I love the character as well because of the wood sticking out of certain elements of him. Like his knees got extra wood on it just to hold him together. It's great. So that's a little look at the
I like the
Arpwash skin
pogo
for you.
stick
Good
walking
evening
around
in the next
Scarecrow.
patch too. Not only that, we've got a couple more to show you real quick on the same theme, I would say, is the bloody, look at him. Oh, he's
my gosh,
gorgeous.
that's a creepy
he's
Ymir
beautiful.
skin, dude.
Bloody Butcher Ymir. Enough of the fruity, fluffy, fun skins. I
That's
want
creepy.
these.
That's a
These
creepy
dirty and
Ymir
evil
skin.
and
Right?
nasty
Like,
feeling
this
ones.
is just so crazy.
This is a very big one. Let's have a listen to the voice pack first of all.
What interesting new things
I would
have
not
you
mess
brought
with that,
for me
dude.
to butcher today?
No, thank you.
I'll slice that smile right off your face. Tell your friends about me. Oh, wait. You're about to die.
I was about to
That's
say,
a
Ymir is a little bit
creepy-
slow now and again, and that was a situation where it felt
Ymir
like he was, where he was like,
Right?
tell your friends
Yeah.
about me? Well, you're going to
Oh,
murder me, so how am I going to do that? This skin looks awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Look at
it
the blood
looks
splats.
So badass.
He just splats blood everywhere as
He's
you
the
walk
bloody
around.
butcher.
Oh,
Oh, yeah,
gosh.
this is great. Let's see the wall.
Oh,
Can you see through that little hole?
Through.
Can you see
Yeah.
through the hole?
We were talking backstage. It was like, is this skin pay to lose or is it pay to win? Like, you can bring up the wall and like, if you got a teammate, you can line up your raw snipes or something like that.
This is great. You could actually make like little stories out of that now too.
Right?
Like, lock people in jail for a while.
Oh
Use
my god,
strips
dude,
of
this
death
skin
now
is.
with
You can just
glacial
tell
strike.
that he is all about the torture.
Oh god,
That looks so
this
good.
is
I
gnarly.
love the blood splatters too. He looks evil, mean, and nasty. What's his freeze
God.
like?
Oh!
He spat blood on them.
Oh god!
This game is getting
Right?
better.
Dude,
Oh
it's so
my
good.
Give me the
goodness!
vibe.
Wait till you see the ultimate.
Oh, okay, I'm ready. Oh my days.
Oh
It's
god!
so ridiculous.
Wow!
That's amazing.
You know,
That's the best
we've
skin of
never
the
really
patch
gone
right
like
now,
this
by
hard
far.
on Halloween skins.
The closest
That
is
is-
the
that
Chuck
is not-
skin.
it's not
You know,
even
the Slaughterhouse
close.
Chuck, I believe, like is
Not
one of
even
the closest
close.
to it. This is next
the
level.
best skin.
That's really cool.
so
And that's
good.
available in the patch too.
Oh
Yep,
man!
this patch, Opwatch
Nasty,
and Amir will
dude,
both
but
be in the
great.
Halloween chest.
All right. We've got
Halloween
one more
chest,
to
folks.
go. It's a good one though,
This
so it's
one
worth
and
the
the
wait,
Alpooch
boys and
skin. You
girls.
heard it first. In the
Look at
Halloween
this bad
chest.
boy. Radical Rex Chuck. He's got a Keter.
He's got laser beam eyes.
Wait, you can't see he's got laser beam eyes. You
Well,
just
he's
gave
wearing,
it away.
he's wearing his sunglasses.
So how do you know he's got laser beam eyes?
Just wait and see.
You gave it away is what I'm saying, Isaiah. Oh, you're worse than me. Panther on the back tier. I wonder if the Panther's in play here. Let's have a listen to the voice pack first of all.
Let me do some quick push-ups. My guns need to look ripped for the fight. Yo. Why was the Stegosaurus such a good volleyball player? Because he could really spike the ball. Get it? Oh, be careful, or I might actually laser you.
The skin just turned out so great.
It's crazy.
It's so ridiculous.
I want to know if he can play the guitar first of all. On the same side, you can see a couple of things like the Gamer Gauntlet he's got on his left hand there, and the axe with the guitar.
Oh yeah, there are so many tiny little elements to this
so
skin.
small? He does feel pretty
We were
small,
talking off air. It
actually.
reminds me a lot of like that dinosaur TV show that was there once
back
upon
in
a
the
time,
day.
right? Yeah,
He does feel kind of
got
small.
an
like
air
his
to that
model.
with it, but more detailed and fleshed out. This looks really good though.
Oh yeah, the effects on the guitar look so good.
For the abilities real quick, the explosion on the axe.
The rain looking fresh.
So slow. It's like Matrix code
Right?
almost, right? That looks really cool. I like it. Nice and clear. Easy to read what's going on. You're being rained on, so you're slowed.
There's that panther.
Oh, it goes around in a circle around the outside to show when it's going to detonate
Right.
too. So it starts on one side, goes away. That's cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. The skin
This
seems
is
way
definitely
less.
my favorite skin of the
The
past.
skin probably would have seemed
We took the
cooler
vaporwave concept
if it
and
was
just took it to
before
the
the
next
Ymir
level.
skin.
Okay,
that Ymir
show me that
skin is just
VXG
too
then.
cool.
I heard it's got a VXG, right?
The skin
I
just
didn't know
got
you
at
could do
least
that. I was
like
joking about the keys.
1
really
point
can.
better.
Look at the moonwalk.
At least 1 point better. So
Oh my goodness, it's so good.
That's really cool. The T-Rex skin, the Radical Rex Chuck skin will be available in the update 2 for you all. That's a cool little skin. I don't ever get the good skins these days.
Right?
I know I've got 3 in a row there. So Radical Rex is done.
that was a good
That's all I've got.
VXG.
Yeah, I think we're
Is that-
done.
Is that the end of the show now?
No, it's not the end of the show.
Why? What's next?
It's Yemoja.
Let's get it over to the other guys on the set to discuss the new god coming to Smite.
Yemoja.
The darkness threatened to overcome our light. But a glimmer of hope escaped the shadows of the underworld. The messenger arrived here at the Ogun River, my home. I will not abandon those in need.
Rumor has it she's a healing guardian.
The waters are patient and cleansing. My allies will know the strength of the tides, and our enemies will fear the flood.
That's right, everybody. Yemoja coming to Smite. We are so excited to show her off to you. Joined by the same crew here on the set. We've got AJ, we've got Clumsy, we've got Chris. Guys, this is a god that I got a chance to actually playtest this god. I don't always with the new gods. I have been so excited to show it off because she's so much fun to play. She brings a totally different play style than basically everything else. Yeah. And I think you guys at home are going to really like it a lot. But first, let's dive in a little bit to the lore and kind of why we chose Yemoja to be the next god to come to Smite.
Yemoja is a water goddess from the Yoruba pantheon. She has a lot of different depictions.
The Yoruba gods do have
is
some
prominent
sweet
in
music.
many cultures, actually, which is really interesting about her. We really tried to focus on the original Yoruba source information as much as we could. But generally, she's a water goddess. She's seen as the mother of the other Orishas.
Yep, she's an Orisha herself, but the mother of all the other Orishas, and she also birthed humanity, I believe.
Yeah, so she has
just casually.
Yeah,
Right.
Casually.
No,
she has
She was bored.
many powers involving, healing and restoration and bringing life to things. And what we're doing here is exploring this through a water goddess skin, but also with a focus on a true guardian support.
Okay.
Yeah, we haven't
True
full
guardian
just full
support.
guardian support. Yeah,
That was in the blog
It
post.
was in the blog
that was in the blog
post.
post.
Good.
Yeah. So this is a really interesting, unique gameplay point that we've been exploring for a long time. We have these mages like Hel and Aphrodite and Chang'e that can play as healers, and they feel like they kind of should be able to support. But the way our mage class is structured, they don't necessarily have the tanky stats to do it.
Right. Yeah.
So we were like, let's just make the support mage Guardian that can play this playstyle and do it successfully, and that was our main goal for this guy.
Sounds fun to me.
I think you guys
sounds
succeeded.
right
It's
up
gonna
my
be a lot
alley.
of
I
fun
heard
as
she
we
doesn't
show
even
off
have
the
mana
kit. In
too.
fact,
I heard she
I
has
believe
like
we do
her
these little
own
kit
unique
run-throughs real quick, right?
system.
Where we just let Pon kind of.
We just like
Or
to
she can,
show
like, cast
everything and make it
abilities
look
over
really
and over
awesome
again.
and just give you a good glimpse of what we're going to go through before we break it down.
Okay,
Hold on
all
to
right.
your hats. Like
Yeah,
cool
seriously.
stuff
It's gonna be
here.
interesting.
It's gonna be a lot of fun. The card art
see.
for Yemoja right there as we are getting ready. Pon's getting all set up to take us
Yemoja.
through the whole kit.
Okay.
Here we go. Let's Pon just kind of.
Oh yeah, that is not a mana bar. That is not a mana bar. Bloop. Bloop, 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 bloop. Bloop.
Yeah, that's pretty
Uh-oh,
cool.
bye-bye Odins.
See ya.
They're gone forever.
Oh, that looks so good.
There you go. That's just one of the cool
Oh,
new things
man.
that this goddess brings.
Goodbye.
I'm so
yeah.
excited.
Oh,
Last
yeah.
time I played this goddess, she had Hera's model, didn't really have a whole lot of it. It was just like blocks falling from the sky.
Feels good.
And I was like, this is awesome, and I'm super excited. This brings it to a
Feels
whole new
good.
level. The first thing that jumps off the page is the UI to me, but I guess we'll start with that in a minute because we got to go through the basic attacks
goodness.
very first. This
Yep.
is a very different style
Okay.
of basic attack here,
Right.
especially for a Guardian.
Yeah, so
Shout outs to old school Hades.
yeah, there we
right.
go. You know,
Shout outs to
she is
Old School
one of the
Hades.
first new Guardians
Only god that was intentionally designed as a guardian with these specific types
with
of
the
basic
line
attacks.
ranged basic
Honestly,
attacks.
I wasn't here when Hades was designed as a guardian with ranged
Yeah.
basics. I don't know why they did it.
But it's
it
the only
didn't-
Guardian currently.
Oh, it's because of his blight passive, of
Right,
course. He wanted to
exactly.
apply blight all the time. That makes sense.
But as you can see there,
He's a mage now, though, so Yemoja is the only guardian
Yep.
That's right.
to currently have. Excuse us for not first, but the only going to currently have.
So
Don't you dare forget
Yemoja's
Hades.
basic attacks are line projectiles, as we see. They hit enemies just like they would normally if you were a mage.
Okay.
But if you hit allies, it actually passes through all allies, applying a heal over time that lasts a pretty lengthy duration. So it's not a heal instantly on hit, and it doesn't stop on
a
allies.
healing
It'll
auto
heal them
attack.
quite rapidly over the course of a longer duration. Because so this is what we're talking about, the closer look, where it's a heal for your allies on your basic attacks, but done in a kind of fair way.
Baby.
Super important set of design processes we went to design this
baby.
ability. This is something that players have asked for many times. A lot of times when you just think of it at face value, it's easy to shoot down, but we really have been trying to challenge ourselves in the design team to find a way to implement these type of mechanics
Love it.
in the proper combination of rules that make it fun and not frustrating. So key things is that passes through allies, not enemies.
Okay.
You can only hit one enemy. That's one thing that I feel like some people
But
were
you could
misunderstanding in the
heal
blog post.
and-
You can only hit
Right,
one
right.
enemy per basic with this.
Okay.
But you can pass through an ally and hit an enemy, or multiple allies and hit an enemy at the same time.
Like it.
A lot of people were also concerned that this would have way too much healing or require Yemoja to just constantly be aiming at her basic attacks at allies, which is just would be frustrating.
Yeah, that's one of the main reasons why we made it a heal over time with a long duration.
Exactly.
Is so when you're playing in game, in arena, and other game modes as well, where
down
it's not
so far?
Conquest, where there's so many people to heal all the time, you don't feel frustrated.
Liking that
by
design
playing
choice?
to,
Liking
like,
it?
hit your
Right.
allies.
So
for the
we
entire game.
specifically designed this ability so you are not incentivized to continuously throw this at your allies over and over again. You really only need to hit them once with it, and hitting them multiple times in a row actually won't even maximize the healing at all.
It does not stop.
It only extends the duration a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Kinda
really,
like popping an extra health pot.
right. But so really, all you need to do is hit every ally every so often.
Okay.
To keep them healing, to really min-max it. So we put a lot less micromanagement on it for specific reasons.
And then
It's
the other
what,
thing,
7 seconds?
7 seconds healing in.
That's
point.
really
pretty
not
long.
that
That's a pretty
often.
long
Yeah,
time.
it
That's
takes some
long.
time. You only have to hit each other once every 7 seconds, especially when you're in the
That's
duel
a
lane,
pretty
stuff
long
like
time.
that. It feels a lot more like a normal god flow instead of you just really
You
being
need to
stuck
know
to
for
someone
autos
and
heal
having to constantly
minions. That would
spam
be
on them,
really
which is-
strong.
Just would be frustrating.
And then the last thing we did there as well is that we made it easier to hit allies specifically. So you can see that the projectiles have a little kind of like wing components because it's actually easier to hit allies than it is to hit enemies.
Interesting.
So right there you can see where the effect
So that
comes in.
So are her basic attacks bigger?
Only for allies.
only for
But
allies.
Only for
enemy,
allies.
The enemy component's exactly the
Okay.
same as all basic attacks.
Gotcha.
You got to hit enemies with that dead center,
Yep.
but allies
Okay.
you can hit with a little
Very
bit more
cool.
on the side.
Will it heal minions?
It will not heal minions, but if you do hit allied
There you
gods,
go.
it does a heal, and it also increases the healing they receive by 10%.
Very cool.
So
and
she
hopefully
does
that'll
have
tie in a
another
little
healing
bit.
ability.
Yeah, that'll tie in. Okay, now we can get to what jumped off the page to me, which is this mana bar. That's kind of all
so-
broken up and separated. This ties into her passive. Clumsy, you want to take this one?
Yeah, her passive is Omi. Omi actually means water. And so that we were playing on that theme a little bit. And Yemoja's abilities do not cost any mana, so you can see in her UI bar there. And none of them have any cooldowns except for her ultimate, which also costs no mana, but it does have a cooldown. So her ability 1 and her alternate 1 cost 2 Omi, and her 2 and 3 cost 3 Omi.
Okay.
And she uses those to cast her spells, and it regenerates at a different rate. It's 1 every 5 seconds, although that scales every level towards level 20, where it will become 1 every 4 seconds.
And is affected by cooldown reduction items.
And is affected by cooldown reduction items. Yep. That's
so this creates a really interesting set of gameplay as well, because this is a resource management character unlike any we've ever done in Smite.
Yes.
So as what we're seeing here by the driver is you can buy more mana items or MP5 items to increase her total number of Omi.
So she goes from 7 at the beginning of the game all the way to 10 based on objectives of getting mana and MP5.
But the gameplay style this creates is it gives you the ability to fire her abilities multiple times in a row, the same ability.
Yep.
So you can, as we just showed here, you fired the ability 3,
cooldown
the mobility
refreshes
1,
them faster.
3 times in a
Mana
row. No other guy
increases
can do
the amount
stuff
of
like that.
bars.
No.
However, that's going to deplete your resource all the way down to the bottom, and it's very important when playing with Omi that you be careful and let your Omi build up to full. Yemoja's kit is pretty weak if you're firing 1 ability every 4 seconds. It's much stronger if you wait for all the Omi to regenerate and then execute these meaningful combos.
Man, that takes a long time, dude.
And then be patient.
That's a long time.
Be careful when you're playing this goddess. You might fall into the trap of trying to spam things right as you can. It's going to put you behind in the long run. It's going to make it harder to actually get the maximum application out of her
Stock up on
abilities.
that. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
Let
Don't
it
wanna
regenerate.
Run out of gas. What happens with blue buff?
It gives you the cooldown reduction, which would make your Omi regenerate faster.
Yep.
Okay.
But the mana and mana healing does not apply to Yemoja because she doesn't use mana at all. And also, we've disabled using mana pots and mana chalice as well in the store, so you won't be able to purchase those.
Because it does not help.
And Baron's Brew, just you're getting it for the HP.
It's same thing with multi-pots as well. You'll get the health, but you won't get
mana and MP5 stats are converted, but actual mana heals, like from other targets or from other sources, she can't use.
Meditation and that kind of stuff.
Right.
Okay, got it. All right, well, let's start with the first version of her first ability, Bouncing Bubble.
Yeah, that's right. So you can see it over there with the targeter. You've got 2 circles, and depending where you place the first one, the second one will be, twice as far as that one. And Yemoja tosses out a lively bouncing bubble, then explodes after the second one into several smaller bubbles. And then once you've used that, you get a second ability 1 called Moonstrike, where she fires consecutive shots calling upon the power of the moon inwards, and the centermost strike does the most damage and stuns enemies.
This
It
is...
also stuns towers.
What's up?
Yeah, that might be a callback, so yeah. Right there, yeah.
Where is Ray Peckies? Where is he? He's going to be stoked right
This is
now.
a classic example of us like really trying to push unique choices in the game. So
we're bringing back old Wah, dude.
Oh yeah,
a previous one.
Okay,
right.
little new one.
A little bit of both.
A little bit of new on there.
So before we let Chris talk about the art style, Hill, just a little bit more about the design. The 2 abilities is a very intentional design here. That's because as a Guardian, we wanted her to have a clear CC ability, which is the center of Moonstrike as a stun. But the idea of being able to spam ranged stuns over and over again in a row either required us to make a very long deploy time or long animation time, which is something we could have done. That's very standard. But instead we challenged ourselves to how can we solve this problem in a new way? That's where we got the double ability from. So in order to stun someone back to back, you actually have to throw a bubble in between.
Interesting.
So it kind of forces a bit of a combo potential, which is what we intend you to play the god with anyway, and it prevents frustration, prevents chain lock.
It is a super far away stun.
Ability 1, both variations are the only kind of proper damaging abilities she has, while the other ones are more utility. So by being able to do 2 back-to-back, you now have a little bit more of a varied gameplay while you're playing, and you're not just like tossing out the bubble 3 times, 4 times in a row and kind of getting that.
Although I also would say, as by design, this goddess is relatively low damage and is intended to have high
I've heard that
impact
before.
through high frequency.
I've heard that
as
before
opposed to
about
high damage.
Susano.
All right, let's let Chris
not
talk
meant
about the
to
visuals here because they're
100 to
gorgeous.
0.
Yeah, they look great. And
Ryzen.
water is always one of those things that I imagine would be pretty tricky on the FX side.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little more difficult. It's a little more expensive generally, so we have to kind of like, tweak everything ideally. But I mean, I think when it works out, it's beautiful. It's a lot of fun.
Absolutely works out here. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Yeah, we definitely took some extra time on that the bubble on the animation side of things too, to make sure it felt lively. The sound effects kind of came in really nicely towards the end to give that kind of like really
Cardio was low damage.
I will tell you that landing
remember.
the center of Moonstrike is one of the most satisfying things in the entire game. It feels
This
really
is a
good.
skill shot intense Guardian, I'll just say that.
Yep.
These abilities may not appear easy to hit because they're relatively large, but they're very unique in their timings and their warning effects. So this takes some skill.
Yeah.
And Clumsy, there's one more special feature about Moonstrike that
there's a couple things I wanted to mention real quick.
Starts on the outside.
The 2 strikes with the bouncing bubble do slow enemies, so I wanted to mention that as well.
Okay.
While the outer explosions are much smaller damage and do not do anything, just a little bit of damage. The Moonstrike, actually, though, as Pond is showing right here, actually scales in its size and radius depending on how far away you use this ability. So as you can see right there, when you're at the maximum range, it's actually going to be smaller to kind of incentivize that Guardian gameplay instead of that mage feeling, where if you're trying to peel for your allies, this ability becomes actually easier to hit as you're trying to defend your allies from people that are kind of coming onto them.
Interesting.
But when you're trying to snipe someone with it, it's a little bit harder to hit.
And of course, we still want Yemoja to be able to play from range.
Right.
But it's about finding the right balance of
easier to hit up close,
a skill shot
from
that's rewarding
farther
yet
away.
dodgeable and not just free to hit. So we've done this really interesting scaling tech, which, based on our camera perspective, actually makes it kind of hard to believe that it's happening.
Yeah.
But it is, so although the target is getting smaller because it's getting farther away, it is also becoming a smaller damage and stun area.
Cool. Yeah. Okay.
Also right there, what Pond's showing is that if you hit the same
Do
enemy
bubbles
twice
go
with
off
the
the
bouncing
wall or
bubble,
bounce
the second
off?
hit is
I have no idea, French.
50%, and then
No idea.
enemies hit by both bubble bounces take 50% damage on the second. Oh no, the little bubbles do 50%
just in general.
Gotcha.
So just in this ability, I should have put this on the blog post as first goddess with 5 abilities or whatever like that, or like this type of thing. But I feel like it needed to be explained in its full context to make sense. Like, so a little bit of surprise and a little bit of additional design background on this choices
thematically
here.
there, also we wanted to pay attention to the fact that she is definitely a river goddess, a water goddess, but she has a lot of associations to the moon as well as, just shells.
The
in general.
moon!
We've
Crystals is another thing that comes up a lot, like
I want to see her
shimmering,
other
shining jewels,
abilities.
and you can see we've used that in her model
Please.
as well. So we use this ability 2, or 1B as we've been calling it, the Moonstrike, as a way to just diversify her overall attacks.
But I think Han's getting ready to set up for the next ability, ability 2, Mending Waters. Mending Waters is just a simple line projectile, right? If you throw it out there, nothing happens. If you hit enemies, it passes through all of them, dealing a little bit of damage. But the most important thing is if you hit allies, the first ally that it hits, it stops and becomes a vertical projectile, bouncing to all nearby allies, healing them and shielding them for a larger amount.
Oh, okay.
So this was really designed as a combat heal.
Okay.
So you get a little bit of healing, but you also get a lot of shielding for a short duration. We're trying to really find the right spot where we are not overly incentivizing out of combat healing, which has always been a concern in Smite, right? It's very powerful. So her heal is relatively low, but if you're hitting multiple targets on a low cooldown, it adds up.
Yeah, because you can cast this multiple times in a row,
Right, you can actually fire it at a single target multiple times in a row to really try to save them. And the shield is really what's going to be the most impactful, especially in combat. It also has one additional bonus feature, which this ability does significantly more damage to enemies who currently have an active health shield. So she shields and she takes away shields.
Yeah, oh my god, Odin's actually a good choice here, that's for sure.
It's a relatively low damaging ability, so they're immune.
Are they immune?
They're damage immune. It's
But
a
it did an
relatively
extra
low damage
400.
ability, but it does significantly more damage to someone who has a shield to help strip them of the shield.
I did not know that part of it. This ability was pitched to me as ally
that shield
Naja ring bounce, which is awesome. I think that's super fun.
Well, we're trying to make a skill shot heal that feels rewarding but not too difficult to hit, because hitting your allies, we've learned over a lot of
That's
testing on
technically
Smite
the
that
first
it's really hard to
anti-shield
hit your
anything
allies.
in Smite.
They move in unpredictable
actually.
ways.
Yeah.
We wanted to make it relatively easy to hit allies. We wanted to make it focus on combat, and we wanted to give a good dancing water fountain type of visual feel. So this here might be reminiscent to you of the type of fountains you see at theme parks or Las Vegas or things like that, where you get this fun little bouncing
it's awesome.
water feature.
I like it.
Finally a counter for Geb, guys, am I right?
I suppose
Finally.
We're finally there. Okay, the 3, Riptide. This is one that
This is the one that people are going to be
so fun.
This is a really good connotation for that.
Blue.
So as you can see there, Yemoja creates a water ring at the location chosen, and herself or allies can go through it to get knocked up and forwards to a much higher degree, as well as get a movement speed and protections buff. And if you place it at the maximum distance, you can see the targeter kind of has a secondary component to it. It actually will reverse the direction, so you can send people towards you. And like we mentioned in the closer look, you can also hit allies and enemies with this. So all allies can follow you through this water ring, and enemies as well will be bounced a little bit less of a distance and get a slow instead of a movement speed.
This is just...
this is going to be really
I know
fun,
I've
you
said
guys.
it like 20 times this patch notes, but we're really pushing ourselves to try new things. This is a crazy event.
So you could save a
This
teammate
has really interesting
by
potential.
giving them a
It is,
portal out.
Again, deceptively hard to use
Yep.
wisely. We did put a brief
There's a little
safety
lockout.
cooldown
Yep.
timer
Yep.
here.
The first
and testing you could
there
infinitely
was an
bounce
infinite
people.
bounce.
The first time I saw
this.
this ability, Pon was like, watch this. Put one at the feet of a bot and then another one further away and infi bounce that person.
Yep.
It's probably for
Okay.
the best.
So
I
the
did not
unique
make it.
applications of this ability are one, like you just saw there, you can actually pull people out of the enemies towards you.
That's
a
really
short
cool.
That's
distance,
cool.
just by using it as a skill shot, which is relatively difficult.
Yeah, using it as
It
a skill
is.
shot is definitely pretty hard, but using it just to cut off people's path is a little bit easier. Using it just for movement to help you and your allies go towards enemies or
I
away
like
from
this
enemies
kit a
is
lot.
Also pretty good too.
I like this
You can
kit.
use it to bail out someone
a
if they're
lot.
having a one-on-one fight far away from you and they're looking low. You
So-
can throw it out in the inverted state and they can just choose to disengage.
Good
and get a
bouncing your
little launch
teammates
out
into
of
the
there.
enemy fountain.
Do
Respect.
some really cool stuff with this ability.
And it also works on minions, so theoretically you can speed up your own minions or kind of set them backwards a little bit to pull the minions. Which
Gotta
is not
respect
something
This
you
is
can do
perfect.
right
This
now.
will fit into our infinite assault strat, where normally we
Oh,
just
no.
wall. We have
You
4
can mirror
Ymirs and
Thor
1
wall.
carry.
Pile up a super wave.
Yeah, and we get one person all the farm, and the enemy team stays at level 5 all game.
Yeah,
This
is
is
gonna
in
be even
fact
better.
a true
Not tell
support.
That's
people about
hilarious.
that.
What do you mean? It's a great strat. Except
The type of character that I miss
Nerf
not
it.
having.
we already did, except Sam for Soccer 2 is a bad AMC carry, and I'm just going to say it. I don't know. It was his fault. That's all I'm saying. All right,
Wow.
it's time to move on to the ultimate. River's Rebuke, one of the coolest ults visually I think we've ever done.
Huge radio.
It looks amazing.
All the Odins are going to go bye-bye.
It's so sweet. It's so cool.
Jeez.
All right, guys, walk me through it.
Hurry, catch him, Pon.
If you stun or 3 all of them,
I feel
in
like
some
it's a
sort of way.
Persephone farmer trying to wrangle him up.
All right, there's a
got
lot
him.
that went into this ultimate, but I think the most important thing that we first started with was, again, if Yemoja, the goddess of rivers, as powerful as she is, the mother of all the Orishas was in the game, what would she do? You would expect her to call upon the powers of the waves themselves, right? And we wanted to do that in an interesting way that still felt like a guardian ability. So these 2 water walls, they're collision walls. Enemies will not be able to walk or shoot through them, but allies will.
So it's a vertical Odin. It's a one-way
tunnel.
Odin cage.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a
Exactly.
tunnel. That's the better word for it.
Very interesting set of gameplay just around those rules.
Yes.
Because of their visibility.
You see the enemy version as well.
You see the fish in there too, by the way?
Yeah,
Little
that's a
shot.
nice little touch.
Okay.
You can't see, allies and enemies cannot see through this. And allies can
So that
pass
wall's
through it
totally
and walk
opaque.
through it, but enemies cannot. So you can use this really strong way to peel for your allies and have your whole team run through it.
They just
leaving the enemy team on
phase
the other
out.
side. Yeah, you can fight through it in really interesting ways.
This is very
It does
interesting.
use the wall highlighting tech though to highlight people you do have vision of, so you can help skill shot
exactly.
enemies
Very
you can't see through.
interesting.
That one seems like the
There's a
helpful.
certain radius on them for sure.
So that's just the walls themselves. Then there's
Yes.
more.
Yeah, so after the the end of the duration,
Okay.
the walls collapse onto enemies, damaging and slowing as well as trembling them a little bit, because we kind of wanted to get this feeling of you're being hit by a massive cascade of water.
You're getting rattled around because
Right,
you were just
exactly.
crushed with water.
The slow is actually, it fades in intensity, so it starts off as a 90% slow, but then after 1 second, it'll become a 60%, so it slows by 30% every second for 3 seconds. Probably should have just started with that. Also, the last thing is that inside this river, enemies aren't affected in any way by the river itself, nor allies. Like, they're not, slowed or anything by it, but Yemoja herself gets a regeneration buff to her Omi while she's inside the river, and that lingers a little bit while she's outside of it as well.
She gets a brief power play on that difficult resource management. You get to fire a few more abilities right after your ultimate.
Okay. It looks like maybe because Pon was switching in and out of energy mode. Is it pretty quick that you end up
We
getting
started
it?
with it being, at an intense amount, but
Yeah.
we've lowered its intensity throughout playtesting to make sure that it is a little bit larger. You can see over
you
there
are
in the
getting
UI that it is increasing.
Okay.
It's slightly faster regeneration. It's not enough to let you
I
spam
see
the
it
whole
now.
kit though.
Yeah, that's when I played it last. That's what it was.
Oh, no, it was
okay.
Yeah,
five
that was
times
that
that
was
larger at that
Get
rate.
him sucked in there,
Yes,
dude.
that
Do
was
it.
that was
And
some
she was able to
nuts
cast a
stuff.
little bit too
Ulti, put
Yes.
2
Yeah,
portals
you can-
there at
you
the
can
end,
dump
so
the
they
whole
get
kit
thrown
in the
back
time of the
inside,
walls,
dude.
right?
This is just meant to be a soft little buff on top of all the other things it does.
Yeah.
Also to keep in
Do
mind,
it.
the wave does not crash symmetrically. It's rolling. It
Right. So
starts,
it starts-
from the fire side where
Okay.
Yemoja fired it and rolls and collapses a slightly later.
So you
at
can
the
get
far
the
end.
Indiana Jones
Exactly.
feeling of
Yep.
running out the
for
back.
your life, so you don't get smashed with the waves.
I'll tell you what, you
Okay.
might think, man, you could just walk straight out of it, guys. How is this strong? when a Yemoja flanks you in lane and you get locked in, I mean, this is massive. It'll cover from the jungle into the lane.
That was nice.
It is really tough.
It's very strong when used horizontally in lanes.
Yes,
preventing
very
people
strong.
from cutting off their paths.
Wow, Pon, you're sick.
How does he do it?
So OP, it's Smite.
And
Incredible.
shout outs to the
Broken.
programmer Alex.
Broken.
You guys know him.
Had to
He
kill
did a
on level
fantastic
1
job
Odin
on all
bots,
these things,
broken.
Especially the ultimate took a lot of work to make sure it felt
Interesting.
accurate.
I'd say Yemoja feels like one of the most clean, programmatic, and artistic gods at PTS launch that we've had in a while. Like, she just feels and looks great.
I like it.
So really big shout outs to the art and
Does
programming
it
team for
tremor
going
you
above and beyond to make
too?
sure this
Nah,
goddess is
I don't
just
think so. It's just like
eye
Odin
Yeah,
bots.
it looks
all
great,
the
Chris.
bots
I mean,
are
this
bugs.
ultimate certainly
And
seems
if
like a
you,
big task. Fitting the
do
fish in
any
there,
form
was
of
that
movement to
was that
to
a?
bot
Oh yeah,
in
we
Smite,
I'm excited to do that. Or a? Oh
and
man,
like
it's one more thing we
like
gotta add.
the
It's
test
already
zone,
crazy.
they
All.
permanently get
When
tremor.
we were in the room pitching this, that was like one of the things that
That's like a
coming up,
testing
and I'm
bot
that'd be really
problem.
cool. And then the modeler that did the material in the waves, John, he's like, oh yeah, I'll do that.
Like if you pull them with
Next time we
Hades
saw it,
ult,
we
they'll
were like,
do
oh,
the
yeah,
same thing.
That's it. That's the good stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole team worked really hard to get this to come together.
There was
I mean, it looks
definitely some
great.
moments of panic.
Yeah.
We were
without a
like,
doubt.
I don't think we have time for the fish. We have to make this look good, and it's a really interesting task. And then by the time we started looking good, then they were able to really step it up and get everything in there that we wanted. The friendly enemy coloring was a really big challenge too, making that feel good.
The entire
kind of
wave
getting that
feeling
purple
accurate.
tint to everything. The
Another
fish in
thing-
there, the conveying
Hi,
the
Odin
cockpit
bots.
area,
Hi, bots.
which we did some extra work. Chris added some extra guidelines for the enemy version that show you very clearly where the blocking volumes are and the damaging area, so you can see a little additional
No, I'm not saying it doesn't have a tremor.
targeter style effects on the
Somebody,
ground. to
somebody
help
was
you
asking
be
if
aware
it
of
was
those.
a permanent tremor.
As well, when you use the bouncing bubble, you can actually see
Yeah,
the crystals
there
that
is
float alongside her light up.
That is a
and
bot
that
bug.
indicates that she can now use Moonstrike. So if you're playing against her, you're able to tell which ability she's now going to
Because one of the advanced Yemoja tactics is to fire bubble and then kind of sit on Moonstrike
Right.
for a while
there's
until
no,
you need it.
It's like King Arthur, where there's no expiration time, right? It's not like
Sure.
Olo runs 2. You can just sit on one of those versions of the ability.
Whatever
for as
one
long
you
as
want. Interesting. Okay.
So the coolest thing
I
about
love
this
that
goddess
three.
is she just all of her abilities have so many unique applications. Like I'm really interested to see how people end
Yeah,
up playing her
Cuckoo
and
ult
mixing
inside
her,
of
'cause
this
she's so flexible.
Throw down that ulti,
She can do
dude.
so
Throw
many
down a
different things
tornado
with
on
her
one
kit.
end, Cuckoo
Yeah,
ult
like
on
right
the
there,
other.
you can see Pawn was using the ultimate, and then at the end of the tunnel, kind of using those riptides to make sure that enemies can't flee.
Just start
Because the
wrecking
other thing
people.
for Yemoja players, we talked about
That's so
pooling
sweet.
resources with your own,
know?
which is one of the important things to learn. But don't just try to use your ultimate as a damage source. The
That's
length,
generally its worst application.
yeah, exactly.
But, you know.
The persist time of the ability is pretty long, which makes it really
Does
good
he have
for the tunnel
25
aspect and to
warlock
keep people
stack
contained.
stacks
But
from
if
just
depending on the
killing Odin
placement,
bots?
they might just walk out of it. You gotta
Yeah.
make sure that you're doing
Leave
things,
the
your
bots
teammates
alone,
are
man.
doing
Leave
things
them alone.
to make sure that they're not.
It's gonna be so much fun to watch this god at a high level for sure. We haven't gotten a chance to listen to the voice pack at all yet. Let's do that now.
Attack middle lane. Defend. Attack the Titan. Woo! You have made me so proud. The waters brim in excitement. I do what I must. Beware. The waters are turbulent and tremble in anger. Do not underestimate me, or you will fall beneath the rising waters. You gods litter the ocean waters just as much as the mortals. Shameful. Yes, I do believe that my dress is more beautiful than a mermaid's tail.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's toxic.
That's you, I'm sorry.
That is toxic.
Shots fired.
I love it. I'm totally here for it, Clumsy.
man.
The recolor as well. I'm excited to get a look at
I love
because
the
that
recolor.
is awesome, man.
Amazingly done card
This
art,
god
too.
is so sweet. You guys have been killing it for so long, and I
Killing
feel like
it.
every new god, I'm like, yeah, this is my favorite one that's come out in a while. Super
you.
excited for everyone to get their
Shots
hands on her.
fired
In the
indeed,
2
Chaos.
games I got to play with her and against her, I had an absolute blast. So I think you guys certainly will as well. Mastery skins, I have a note
Yes.
on here that we should have those.
We have all of these.
Yeah.
And we could probably take a look in game at some of them, I would assume. They all looked finished last I checked. I was
Sharks.
really impressed with the Mastery skin.
Sharks.
Her dress. Oh, here's the recolors.
Wow, that looks amazing.
Absolutely love that we went for this color scheme.
Yeah. It's kind of a coral feel.
Yeah.
Although she's specifically the goddess of rivers in Yoruba mythology, she has been often attributed to oceans and seas and etc. in other cultures. So there's some shout outs in her recolors and her masteries and other things like that to acknowledge that a little bit, even though we mostly focused on the Yoruba
Shout outs.
depiction.
Sure.
Here's her golden. looks amazing.
Yeah, blue and gold, definitely. You can still see the blue popping on the dress as the kind of undertones.
And a huge shout out to the concept and modeling team for making just her.
God,
her
legendary
face
skins
just
are
so
fire,
beautiful,
man.
And the art quality just continues to elevate.
God,
It's
legendary
really
skins are so fire.
amazing.
Yeah, they really do.
The crystals, the
so
details
vibrant.
on her
So
dress,
much better than the gold and
her-
diamond
the,
skins.
The absolute
So much
detail of
better.
her face. It's amazing how far we continue to improve our characters.
Diamond skin as well. You gotta round it out. I mean, the turquoise, an obvious great look for a river goddess for sure.
Oh yeah, the diamond fits her so well.
Yeah, that's awesome. The crystals, looking crystal that time around, or diamond, I suppose.
Broken or not,
Crystals are
it's hard
less
to.
opaque.
So nice.
That's fine.
The kit looks good.
That's not what I was going
It
for.
depends
there.
on how hard
Make
it
sure
is
you
to,
guys are
properly
tuned in to
utilize the
Smite
stuff.
Game on Twitter.
It
So
depends
you
what
can
the
get all the
actual
information on
damage
PTS and
numbers
all that
are,
kind of
what the
stuff.
scaling
so
is,
you
you
can
know?
get your hands on all these changes
much
and on
damage he
Yemoja
does
as
and
well.
how
Thanks so much for
well.
watching. Make sure you stick around. Esports Weekly coming up in just 5 minutes.
Especially
A
with
whole bunch of
something
new
like
information
her
as the
new
SPL
mana
starting to
system.
wind down, getting close to the Smite World Championship and DreamHack Atlanta.
As far as balance changes, there really wasn't that much. Barely any item changes. God changes, there were some. But even Persephone, who had like the most changes, really didn't like. It was just a couple. Like it felt like an itty bitty nerf. But the new goddess looks good. It's hard to tell how good somebody's gonna be when they utilize like a new mana system, you know, because it depends on how that scales and how good.